Okay. So we are already live. So I'll leave it up to the MCs to do the talking until we start officially.
Hello, 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 everyone. This is just to welcome everybody to the second day. We will start in exactly a minute. So get a glass of water, get comfortable, get some coffee, whatever that energizes you, just keep hydrated, and we will be starting shortly. We are excited to have you here today. It is going to be a full day program today, and we hope that you are ready to connect with us, to engage with us, to add to what we are contributing, to learn together and to share with us your experiences. So let's continue to use the hashtag that we shared yesterday. We are currently live on Facebook, and we want to continue riding the wave even on the other social media networks. So let's just hang tight. We will start in a few seconds. Thank you for joining us, and welcome again. I see we've got representation from different countries already. I see Netherlands, I see South Africa, I see Nigeria, I see the US, I see Kenya, I see South Korea, I see Australia. I'm not sure who I'm missing, but I see there's different countries represented already even before we start. So big ups to you guys for representing. I'm not seeing any gentlemen yet. Oh, Patrick obviously is here. But I'm seeing mostly ladies, and I hope we get more gents later in the day. So welcome everybody. Ingun, just give me a thumbs up to start officially. Great start. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you may be, and officially welcome to the second day of this exciting and inspiring conference. We are delighted, we are excited really to have all of you here, whether you're part of the female wave of change or not yet. I'm going to say not yet, because we're hoping that after this 2-day conference, you're going to be inspired to climb on this wave and say, hey, I also want to contribute to this. I want to be this change that I want to see, and I want to leave a legacy for many generations to come. My name is Tato Belang, and I'm co-host of this with together with the beautiful and phenomenal Debelo Mokhema. We'll start this program this morning, and I will join in later in the day. Yesterday was powerful and inspiring, but you're going to get a brief recap from some of our board members later. So Debelo, over to you, and I'll see you ladies later. Enjoy.
Good morning, good day, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you so much, Tato, for that, inspiring and exciting welcome. Indeed, what a day we had yesterday. We just realized that women have got so much knowledge and experience. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, this world has to change. With this amount of knowledge and expertise that we have, this wave of change that we are looking to create in this world has to come to fruition. For those of you that are joining us for the first time today, don't worry about missing yesterday's session. The information the recording will be available at a later stage on our Facebook, on our Female Wave of Change our website. So you'll be able to go in when you have a moment and just recap, on the messages that we received. The pillars did such a wonderful job of, representing the work that they have done, or some of the thought leadership that they have on, some of the aspects. So today we are ready for another day of taking this wave across the world. And today we are definitely surfing around the world. It's going to be a fun and an exciting day. Tato, thank you for a sterling job that you did on day one. And we look forward to seeing you again later in the day. And as Tato has indicated, remember, if you're posting, when you are posting, You know, we have to show the young ones that we can also, you know, work on this social media platform. So let's get on Twitter, let's get on Facebook, on our LinkedIn accounts, and you know, our Instagram, and remember to use the hashtag FWOC Wave 2021. I think today, ladies, we deserve to make a lot of noise about, you know, this amazing conference that we have. So for all of you that are here today, welcome one more time. Just one administrative aspect I'd like you to remember for all the speakers. Please note that during the course of the session, when you are speaking, I will be off video during the time that you're speaking. However, 1 minute to the end, I will be on video. So anytime you see me on video, it means rush, 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 we need to be ending. Because yesterday we really went on, you know, we went on an hour longer than what we had planned. However, it was really still very good content that we have. I will remind each of the speakers again before they come on that if they see my face, it means it's 1 minute for them, you know, to concluding their presentation. So let me not take too much time reflecting on yesterday's proceedings, as that is going to be done by our erstwhile board members. And it gives me great pleasure to welcome onto our screens Nawal Tarazi, who's a board member of Female Wave of Change, and Ingun Ball, who's the founder of the organization. Ladies, over to you.
Thank you, Tabelo, thank you, Tatu, thank you, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, our dear participants. My name is Nawal Tarazi. I'm Jordanian living in Switzerland, a professor at the University in Geneva, and a board member at Female Wave of Change. I would like to thank you all for joining our Global Conference 2021 from over 40 countries around the world. And I do hope that this conference will serve as a platform of awareness and guide to action. Last year, Female Wave of Change identified 5 pillars that were considered the main pillars of human well-being: education, humanity, health, environment, and economy. The pillar teams worked hard during last year. Yesterday's presentations proved to us that these pillar teams became teams of advisors and consultants. Now we proudly call them the wells of expertise. This year, their mission was transformed from global to local, and they currently guide and supervise the local ambassadors. Yesterday, the pillar teams inspired us with their presentation. Each reflected how they were able to transform global vision into local action. The education pillar team inspired us with their storytelling. Several local reading campaigns to inspire lifelong learning took place in many countries. New stories, letters, and videos were shared. New books were published, and the road is still ahead. Given the very challenging health conditions, the health pillar team provided an excellent monthly self-care webinars to raise awareness and guide towards better physical and mental health, importance of self-care, breathing, stress management, and toxicity to improve our well-being. And the environmental pillar team celebrated global and local events. Above all was Earth Day, with a walking campaign and Kenya team winning and sharing their prize in a beautiful environmental celebration that was shared on all social media platforms. From Zero to Hero was another local project in Lombok Island, Indonesia, reflecting the environmental vision of Female Wave of Change. And despite the challenging economic conditions, the economy pillar team continued its effort to spread awareness and assistance to several women around the world. The team inspired us with their presentations yesterday. You are the CEO of your life, keys of your financial independence, importance of savings, and give us tips for segregating personal from business finances. And finally, the humanity pillar team, guided by the United Nations SDGs to empower women through gender equality and more independency, demonstrated a pilot project in Kenya under the name Mother Circles of Change, a heartful project to support young mothers to be able to sustain and improve their lives. That was along the words of our keynote speaker, Dr. Amina Ali, who said, "Better human, better humanity." And another saying says, "When women lead, humanity wins." A big thank you to all pillar teams. And now I will leave you to enjoy the rest of the day with our wave around the world. But let's keep in mind that waves never stop and change is happening, and we are confident that tomorrow is a better day. Thank you. Up to you, Ingun.
Wow, Noel, thank you very much for this great recap. And I cannot be more impressed of what had happened yesterday. It's really amazing. And thank you for my time now to be able to share a bit about what has happened. But first, before I start, I want to show you a picture. This one. And I hope you can see it. This is a picture I was sent yesterday during the conference. And this is my grandson, almost 3 years old. And this is my granddaughter, almost, today, 9 weeks old. And, you know, it really touched me when I saw this picture. And why? I'm going to stop share. Why does this affect me so much? Because many people often ask me what drives me, what keeps me going. Well, they are. I want to leave a legacy to be proud of to my children, my grandchildren, and all the future generations. But not just for my own family, for your children, for your grandchildren, for your nieces and nephews and their offspring. So I learned from the Iroquois Indians, we have to think 7 generations ahead, and not just once a year when we intend a big conference. But with each and every decision we take, we have to think about the effect it will have on the 7 generations from now. How will they live? How will the condition of Mother Earth be? Will they live in a safe environment? Will there still be clean air to breathe? Will they have healthy food on the table? Are they able to go to school in a way that they are allowed to grow into the unique personality that they are? Will they be able to travel and make new friends all over the world? Will they be able to take care of the older generations? And so much more. When we started Female Wave of Change 5 years ago, I honestly did not expect to be here today with 291 women from 43 countries, 6 continents. Wow, from all walks of life. And I cannot be more grateful and humbled. We are 5 years on a journey to contribute to a better world for all, more human, more conscious, more connected, and more sustainable. We're guiding more and more women worldwide to step into their authentic feminine leadership. Leadership based on our feminine values and energy, based on empathy, on compassion, on collaboration, on vulnerability, on courage, on hope, on resilience, on acting from our heart and from our gut feeling. Never would I expect to sit in a Female Wave of Change global conference and hear all these women speak. Women sharing their expertise and sharing their wisdom on different topics, talking about creating a better future. And this is only the beginning. Worldwide, there are so many challenges than ever. We cannot solve everything, but we really can contribute to the solutions. And therefore we need to be ready and we need to act, as Noel mentioned. Remember the poem of the Hopi elder. We are the ones we have been waiting for. Yes, we are the ones we can bring change into this world. We all can be that drop in the ocean that will cause that ripple, that wave, even that tsunami that Bonnie mentioned yesterday. We can, when we all step in that authentic feminine leadership. And last week, I picked up that quote and I mentioned it yesterday also. When women lead, humanity wins. And I do believe this is right. We're here to shine. We're here to change the narrative. We're here to reshape the future. There is no more time to sit back and wait for things to happen. Make it happen. It is not anymore about a seat at a table. We build a table. Forget about fighting the old, but create the new. So stop trying to be someone you're not. You are born to be your authentic self who is supposed to stand out and not to fit in. And again, like yesterday, I challenge the older and wise generations to take responsibility and guide the next generations into a world that is fit for them. They need your wisdom. Be their mentors, their guides, their storytellers. The younger generations are more educated than ever, but they need your experience, your wisdom. But even more, I challenge the younger generations. We are shaping your future. You want to be there. We need to hear your voice. We need you to be part of Female Wave of Change. But we also challenge our men, our partners, our fathers, our brothers, our sons to join us on our quest. We want to do this together. We need to do this together. I challenge all of you. I wish you a wonderful second day, and I know there's so much more on our program, so have fun and be inspired. Back to you, ladies.
Thank you, Nawal, and thank you, Ingun. Ladies and gentlemen, we have all heard the challenge, and I believe it's a challenge that we are ready to take, and it's a challenge that we are ready to move forward and create a bigger wave and more waves across the world. Thank you so much, ladies, for that. Now, I would like to take the opportunity to welcome another board member of Female Wave of Change, Renee van der Berg, who will share information on one of the successes of the organization, which is the Women Leading in Change Transformational Program. Renee, over to you.
Thank you, Tebello, and thank you, Ingrid and Nawal, for the start of a beautiful next day. You know, when I started thinking about my quick 10 minutes chat today, I thought about two reasons why I like Female Wave of Change so much and why I'm still on the board after 3 years. This is because as an HR professional from early days, lifelong learning is really ingrained in my belief what's important for change and continuous change. And the other thing is impact. So we spoke yesterday with our education team about impact, which actually all the teams spoke about their impact. And so as long as you can have impact with the things you do, whether it's in an NGO or in corporate or as entrepreneur, that's just what it is. So we're going to talk about impact again, impact on lives and impact on all of us. So indeed, I'm board member, leadership and career consultant at this moment. And we're going to talk about a little bit how we came up with the program. What is it? What is the program? We spent a little bit of time on it yesterday. And of course, then the way forward. So how did we come up with the idea of a transformational leadership program? Two reasons mainly. One is we met so many strong women and so many women who you could see there's a flame inside them, they can be the leader. And there was just this nudge necessary for them to step into that leadership. So we thought, that's a spark of, a beginning of a thinking. The other thing, of course, very important was our humanities event a few years ago. September, we had a month full of events and speakers. And what we discovered is basically that there are two interdependent things that are so important for women's empowerment: financial independence and education. And so those two things were combined in the spark of our idea. Let's organize and design a leadership program that is special, that is different than anything else that we know as leadership programs. So we came together with our circle of wise women, our ambassadors, our boards, and we start thinking about what it needed to be. So what most leadership programs lack when you buy them off the shelf is this deep internal journey. Discover your person, your qualities, your leadership, uncover that, your vision, your mission. And that's basically where we started. So let's do the inner journey first, and then, the leadership will come later. So the program has been set up, and it's, of course, we change every time a little bit, but in principle, it's a similar setup as when we started. It's 10 to 12 sessions, online, global, international participants, international teachers from our own community. And it's again, for women from all walks of life, from all phases of life. And yeah, what we actually see is that I shared a little bit about it yesterday, and for some of you may not have joined us yesterday. What the women tell us is that they get confidence out of the program, confidence in their own leadership, confidence to make the next step, clarity on their vision and their mission. What am I here for in this world to do? They love the fact that we offer a little bit of theory and concepts, and also a lot of practical tips. And that comes back to impact, because impact is not only seen on the participants in our program, it's also seen in those who they impact in their environment, in their family, in their organization, in their community. And my personal motto is actually the power of one. So power in a good way, you know, you as an individual, everyone can make the difference. So what we see is the power of those ladies coming out of the program runs and flows through their organizations, their communities. And that's just fantastic to see. I spoke yesterday about women getting promotions at work, making career changes, setting up their own businesses, writing books, sharing their stories for learning. Storytelling is such an important thing that I learned from Female Wave of Change as a great way to inspire others. And lots of people paying it forward, and we spoke about it yesterday. I won't repeat it. So this is just what we saw. And then in, I think, the end of 2019, we said, this is so wonderful. We can only do 2 programs per year. How can we really accelerate the impact? So we started working on a local version with manuals, with videos of our global teachers. And we had actually 4 or 5 country teams with alumni from the global program ready to roll out when COVID hit us. So we had to put that a little bit on the shelf. Still, if I look at the future, our wish and our aim is to run with local versions, because even then you can impact more women, and also women who don't have the internet connection, who don't have the money to pay for this, the global program. So still on the shelf. The other things what we are thinking about is, because now we have this program for, let's say, the middle time frame, so Europe, Africa, and touching Asia, East and touching West. But for some of our participants, they were waking up every morning, 3 a.m. like Day Young. I see she's in the conference today. Or for the people from America, Canada, they have to schedule with work issues. So we're still thinking about how we can solve that. So there are more than enough plans, and I'm sure we'll share those when the time is ready. Looking forward to that. At this moment, I'm just gonna compliment all the women that have been so courageous to step in, Women Leading in Change, make the change, and sort of impacting their world around them as we speak. And I also want to make a grateful bow to all our teachers who have been relentless in sort of supporting us in having, new materials, and just sort of shining and inspiring every training, every program. So with that, I'm giving it back to Bello. And thank you for listening.
Renee, thank you so much for that outline and information about the program. As an alumni of the program, I really want to encourage you that if you know of women, whether they are members of Female Wave of Change or not, but you know them there in your circle, and you can see that there is just a spark that's missing. There is just that one thing that if they get right, they will flourish. I would really say to you, encourage them to attend the program. I think I was in the second cohort in 2019, and let me tell you, it felt like finally somebody was talking to me. And talking with me, you know, in the program. Really, really awesome program. So for those of us who are here as members and as wave makers, I really want to encourage you, talk to women in your circles and encourage them to be part of this program. It's awesome. It's awesome. They'll ask you lots of questions about it. You know, what is it going to cover? And because it's such a personal experience, it's difficult to say to them, this is exactly what you're going to learn, because each of us in the program go through such a, you know, a different personal journey, and wonderful teachers that you also have from a global point of view that are part of that program. So yes, do encourage more people to be part of the program. So now we are starting to develop and enhancing this wave of change that we have. And we are going to start by going under and welcoming on the screens the ambassador of Female Wave of Change in the Commonwealth continent of Australia, my sister Mireille Tulekima. However, Mireille, before you share your presentation, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself? I don't think everybody that's here know who this powerful woman is. Mireille, over to you.
Thank you so much, Tebelo. And wow, it's really starting really well. So I'm Mireille Tulekima. I'm based in Perth in Australia. I'm one of the ambassadors for Female Wave of Change. And I can tell you, you know, I've been with the organization for 3 years almost, because I started in 2018, and it was not like that. So there's been a lot of work done, and we have such an inspiring group of women, you know, in this organization. It's really refreshing to see what is becoming and to see what's the impact that, you know, we're starting to have around the world. And it's really amazing. So I am an entrepreneur, an engineer, a petroleum engineer by background. So I do a lot of empowerment work focusing on women in non-traditional industry, starting with the energy sector where I have my background, and really working with women who are in the STEM sector, STEM standing for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So I've been, you know, I have numerous platforms. I'm not going to extend here, but really the main focus on what I'm doing is really creating an impact and making sure everybody that, you know, I come in contact with can understand that they have a power and they can step into their power and step into their greatness. And that's one of the reasons I joined, you know, Female Wave of Change, because of this, you know, a platform that can help women to really believe in themselves and unleashing their power and living to their full potential. So that's about me, I think, at this stage, Tebelo. And so today I'm gonna just complement what, you know, Renee just talked about. So she talked about the Women Leading in Change program. And I was one of the teacher of the first batch of first cohort, and I see that the program has evolved. And what we're trying to do here with the Australian team is implement it locally. So there's, you know, we've been working at it for quite some time now to try to find the right, you know, the right way of passing the message and empowering women here locally, starting with Perth and hopefully, you know, translated into the full of Australia. I have through some slides to share. I don't know if Tebelo, I can share it, I think, is it?
Yes, you can.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to share that. So obviously, I mean, this is a tradition we have here in Australia, which is the acknowledgement of country. When we talk about things happening here or when we talk to an audience. And I really would like to acknowledge that I'm speaking from the traditional lands of the FWOC here, which is the Perth region. And I wish to acknowledge and respect, you know, the continuing culture and the contribution that they make to the life of this city and this region. And I pay my respect to all the elders, both past, present, and future. And this is our team. So I'm going to speak on behalf of them today. We have Susie, Cynthia as ambassador for Australia. And we have two wave makers, Caroline and Suzanne. And I'm supporting them based in Perth, but I have more of a regional role. But right now, the team is really focused on us five. So the key focus for us is really to implement the Women Leading in Change local program, not only first in Perth, but in Western Australia, and get it accredited. Because what we realize is that, you know, to make sure that we have the support, a lot of organizations, especially women organizations, ask us if, you know, the program is accredited. So that's our focus as well, so that we can really, you know, implement the program and have it roll out all over the country. And obviously to expand, you know, the Australia team first in regional Australia, and also in the Indigenous community, where we think there's a key need for help, you know, to help them to really step into their power, because there's so much knowledge in this community, so much thing that we can learn from, but, you know, we've not been able to get it out. So we really want to have, you know, a presence in the Indigenous community. So when we talked about, you know, obviously there's and you mentioned it, I think, at the beginning, is having, you know, the global movement and the global women living in change being implemented locally, which means that we had to look at, you know, how taking a program that is done virtually over 10 to 12 weeks and have it implemented here in Perth first, taking into account the reality, the environment. So we came up to different, you know, we've tried different set. And what we realize is that we have to adapt it differently. So we're gonna have, it's gonna be as a workshop. So we're gonna have the program implemented as a workshop, which is a 3-day workshop or a 3-day over several weeks, so that, you know, we can have the right quorum, the right focus, and it's more adapted to, especially for those women who want to join, who are not actually sponsored by any organization. And we've tested it, and we come up to that, you know, to those solutions. And our first, and then we're going to have obviously something really big at the end of each cohort, which is the celebration and the networking, and have, you know, the different women present and have the certificate, make it really big, as if it was, you know, graduation in an institution and in a university. So that's really how we want to go for it. And we're starting to have traction so far, and that's a good sign. But what we realize is the accreditation thing is really a big one, especially when we want to reach out to sponsors, because we realize that as just Female Wave of Change, it's going to be very difficult at the beginning, because the organization is not really known here. So we're pushing. So our strategy is to run our first cohort, supporting, having support from local sponsors, organization, and university as well. So we've been already in talking to the city of Perth, because they are very supportive of new program and a new thing coming from overseas. And we really want to have this program push forward, because as as Renee was saying, it has it has had a big impact on all the women that have actually been had the chance to be part of to take the program. And we really want to push this wave here in Oceania, starting with Australia and starting with Perth, so that we make sure that women really play in their leagues and push themselves to their potential. So as far as the implementation is concerned, so we're going to start with Perth in Q1. So it has been difficult to implement it with the pandemic. We had different waves of lockdown, especially in the eastern part, and then there's people are still very cautious. And we don't want to do it. We don't want to do it totally virtually. So we said, okay, we're just going to push it so that we get the woman to actually have a face-to-face, even if we have to do a hybrid, but at least have some face-to-face with the woman and have this impact that we're looking for. And then we're looking at having a cohort really going regional in Western Australia, because a lot of women have not access to the virtual, and they're not in the big cities. So it's important that we bring them in as well, and so that they get this those skills and get to the point where they can also now understand that their potential is needed, and they really have to push and step into it. And then we're really looking at extending interstate, but as I mentioned, the accreditation is going to be key. And we really want to have this accreditation by the end of next year, so that we can powerfully push the program and empower more women and help more women to discover the leaders that they already are, but that they don't know they are. So that's the key powerful thing that we really want to do. And that's really all that I had to share. But really, what I really want to do is, the best wave of our life, it's still out there. I mean, I know that especially here in Australia, there are some powerful women who don't really know that they are powerful. So we are here as Female Wave of Change to make them, go inside, understand what they are, able to do, and push them to their limit, and so that they can, really start to do things that they should be doing with the potential that they have. And that's why I'm always telling them, make sure you join this big wave that we are creating for you, because it's not for us, it's really for them to empower, themselves and start to create the impact that they need and that they want in their life, and design the kind of environment, design the kind of society, and design the kind of humanity that we need. And as Ingun was mentioning, when women lead, it's humanity who win. So we really want humanity to win with this program. And that's all. I'm done speaking. Tebelo, thank you so much, and all the best, to everyone who's attending the conference.
Wonderful, Mireya. Thank you so much. And what I love the fact that in as much as there's a lot of projects and events and opportunities and businesses that you're involved with, but you still have the passion to ensure that this wave grows, in Australia. And by the way, I learned something, that greeting when you started, I thought, oh my God, I need to find a South African greeting. I really loved that. I think that was really just awesome. And what I also love about what you've shared is the fact, and I think this is a challenge that most countries, have been looking at, is the fact that when you implement the program on a local level, it doesn't have to run exactly the same way that the global program has run. You understand the dynamics and the aspects, that you need to be working with in your environment, and you have looked at how, you can customize it for your environment. We also deal with issues of accreditation in our country, and I know in other countries, but what you have done is really, I think, given a lot of us, just a nudge to say, hey, you can do it with, the work, understanding the rules and regulations in the environments that you're in. So we want, on behalf of the organization, I want to wish you and the team and the women that will be participating in the program all the successes as they go out and they learn and they help to grow the wave. We will be checking on the Australia page of the website. Please post on the Australia page of the website, what's happening, so we can be able to share with more people, about these local programs. So thank you so much, Mireille.
You are welcome. Thank you.
Great, ladies. And we are moving this, I tell you, I'm loving this surf. We started this surf in the morning and the water is nice and warm. And, we've gone through the continent of Australia, and now we're staying in the east and, east of the world. And it gives me great, great pleasure to welcome our first keynote speaker for the day from the Republic of Korea. It gives me pleasure to welcome Mrs. Hyojung Shang. Did I say it right, Young? And
yes, you did.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. I spent most of last night practicing this. Right. Mrs. Shang, if I can just do a quick introduction of her. She is the president of Hangaji Sing Parents Association in Korea. She started her career as an NGO activist in the field of women's rights in October 2006. As I've said, she's the president of the Sing Parents Association in Korea. She's received a presidential award in May of 2020 for a contribution to promoting the status of single parents by increasing the awareness of public understanding towards more inclusive society. And her significant achievements in her life so far is that she's been involved in the Republic of Korea in policy-making processes that help, revise laws to support single parents. She's built shelters for families in trouble. She's helped increase the self-esteem of single parents through art and activity. And she's also participated in extending education opportunities in the country. And this is the one that I love the most about her bio. She has led a one-person demonstration in front of the Ministry of National Defense, where she found out that Korean military leadership put sons of single parents into special category with an assumption that they might be problem makers in their military service in 2014. So on her own, she led a one-person, one-woman demonstration. Over to you, Mrs. Shang. Thank you.
So, excuse me, we prepared a brief interview style. So let me just give her a question, 5 questions, then she will answer to that. Thank you so much.
Okay.
President Chang, the first question. So as the leader of a single parent association, would you please introduce yourself?
If I hadn't been a single parent, I wouldn't have initiated my career as a single parent advocate. A psychoanalyst, one of my mentors, said that I am a person who makes a ripple effect, like a centrifugal force. I decided on my married life when my children were 1 year and 7 years old. In order to escape verbal, emotional, and eventually physical violence. I finally recognized that I was putting my 7-year-old daughter in a recognized unstable situation, and I didn't want to affect my younger child. I chose to get divorced when my second baby hadn't even had his first birthday. I desperately wanted a divorce, but in reality, I was overwhelmed by a huge wall of fear. How could I survive and make ends meet while raising 2 babies? I was also afraid of the way people would regard me as a divorcee. I got intimidated, hurt. I didn't receive any support even from my own parents. All I could think is, how could I live my life as a mother of 2 children in the worst housing and having nothing? I could grow a mother and an organizer thanks to the support of many people around me. The support would not have happened if I had not identified myself as a single parent. In particular, I met many female leaders through the USA Embassy's Women's Leadership Seminar. This seminar helped me to realize that change can happen even through one single person. At the Embassy's seminar, I met Ms. Taeyeon Kim, then a public diplomacy specialist and FWOC ambassador, who made everything possible. As a seminar leader, then a miraculous educational opportunity as open for single parents. For example, Gyeonggi Cyber University gave all single parents a chance to enter the university with 100% scholarship support. So as single parents, we can further ourselves with supports from numerous teachers and supporters. I still have a long way to go, but I have accomplished this much with the hope that single parents and their children can be given equal opportunity without discrimination.
Thank you so much, President Zhang. Our second question is, as a single parent, you must have difficulties keeping life and balance. What impact do you think you gave to your children? Number 2.
The moment that I choose to be a single parent, my life restart from the bottom. I felt shame that I should get subsidized from the government. It was true that my divorce meant starting over with nothing. However, receiving the government's support made me feel like an incompetent person. I was very worried about taking care of my 2 children, who were 1 and 7 years old, all by myself. Would I choose to make money, not to feel ashamed of my incompetence? Or would I get to government support in order to take care of these young children? I choose to get help from my country so I could spend a little more time with my children. I thought the time I could spend with my children would never come back. And in the future, I could make money. It also opened another opportunity to meet activists and join the single parent issue. It allowed me to think about human rights, violence sensitive, and gender equality. Unfortunately, I feel I failed to take proper care of my children as I had original planned, as I spent more time working as a social activist. But thanks to this experience, my children are growing up to have a sensitive toward human rights, violence, and gender equality.
Thank you so much. You must be very proud of your children. And number 3, would you please tell us social image toward single parents in Korea? Number 3, please.
Single parents carry a very negative social image in Korea. That we are those people, we break up a family. This stigma mostly comes back to women. People often say, just hang in there a little longer. To her own family, a single mother could even be regarded as a disgrace. The family says that they are proud of the fact that none of their relatives have gotten a divorce. Families try to hide this fact and discourage them for coming to family gatherings. In family events, Korean enjoy showing of success of children and husband. The patriarchal system from Confucian cultural values what others think over what we think. When women become single parents, they are placed under a huge social prejudice. With single mothers in Korea are often called witches who destroyed their husband. Bad women who do not have any tolerance for husbands, and promiscuous women who do not take care of their own body when they have babies out of wedlock. So instead of revealing that we are single mom, we do our best to hide our truth. Unlike other minority groups such as the physically challenged people or multicultural families who cannot help revealing their identity with their appearance. We hide our identities and live wearing a mask. As a result, some of our behavior does not look natural, and it causes a vicious cycle of prejudice against us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And number 4, what difference do you think single parents in other countries might have compared with Korean single moms? So number 4, please.
In Korea, the way people look at single parents is more focused on women. It is the image of women who broken up their families, women who are challenging an existing patriarchal system, and women who are negative and tough. And these women, single parents, are in charge of their children. This negative perspective is transmitted to our children and causing damage to their identity as well. It is truly heartbreaking to see how our children are being treated in our society depending on who their parents are. I am curious about how single parents live in other countries. I am also curious about how people would react when they hear single mom reveal their identity as such. For single parents, what type of support is available in other countries is who they live with. I also would like to know whether other governments would provide different support for married couples and single parents with regards to parental leave, child care, income, housing, etc.
Thank you. Our last question is, so you are speaking your first international speech at FWOC. So to international community, what do you want to ask for?
In Korea, we enacted a Single Parent Family Day on May 10 in 2019. I am informed that there is an International Single Parent Family Day on March 21st. I hope that single parents around the world are given the opportunity to establish solidarity among ourselves. I hope you can reveal your identity. We desperately need stable jobs to help children develop. Sorry. I hope you can reveal your identity and support those who succeed as single parents in Korea. Single parents who do not belong to the lowest income bracket cannot receive support from the government. So these people live as if they are different from us. It is unlikely that these single parents with better income would not support other single parents with lower income. I would like to ask for help from international companies in Korea. I hope they consider hiring single mom, and then we can expect quality family time, higher salaries, and better welfare. From these companies, we often hear that Korean companies are concerned that we would not focus on our work due to our concern for childcare. That bias causes more challenges for us to get a job in Korea. That's why a lot of us do not admit that we are the breadwinner for our family. We desperately need stable jobs to help children develop. Thank you.
Thank you so much, President Jang. Thank you so much.
President Jang, and to you, Dayu, 감사해요.
감사합니다.
Thank you so much. Well, that is my attempt of saying thank you in Korean. So it looks like, I could kudos for that. Thank you so much for sharing your story, President Jang, and your aspirations. And I believe, Ingun, that this might become one of the projects or challenges that as a global organization, we start looking at to be able to say, how do we, look at on a global perspective, the support and the work that needs to be done and the message that needs to be given to governments about the work that single mothers are doing. You have done a wonderful job. Well, Dio, I see that you are clapping. You will be the leader of this project globally.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Ingun, over to you.
Yes, well, I already see, and that is something that Sophia, and she might be able to step in. The humanities team yesterday has launched a project that is very much aligned to this. So, Sophia, do you want to respond just short?
Mm-hmm.
Hello, everyone. Apologies about my video being off today. Yes, this is definitely one of the projects that as the humanity team, we said we are going to work on, because it became important for us to, when we're talking about empowerment, to identify what women are we talking about. And therefore we decided to say, for now, we're going to focus on a woman as a mother, because especially during this COVID time, there's a lot of struggles and challenges that women are facing, and the statistics of single mothers is extremely scary. So yes, I'm very happy that your presentation was on that. It will be nice to collaborate with you so that we make it a success.
Wonderful. Thank
you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you to Sophia and the humanities team. And Mrs. Zhang, you did very well for your first global conference, and we wish you many more successes and many more global conferences where you will be presenting your story. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, at this moment, I would like to ask all of us to open our videos so that Patrick can take another lovely group picture. Again, a lovely, wonderful morning that we have started with. So if you're here with us, just have your camera open for a moment and give us that beautiful smile. Patrick, including you can't just take the picture and be off video. Let us know when you've succeeded.
Okay, just a moment.
Okay.
Your smiles. Your smiles. The first one. I think everybody's in, not yet. You can see that 7 of us, and I can see only 1 page.
If you go into the second page,
I can only see 1 page.
Oh, okay. All right, let me quickly take
Again.
the second page.
Okay.
Second page has a lot of pictures, videos that are still off.
That's why. Oh, I think I can only see the. Let me do that.
Perfect, done. Thank you so much. Thank you, Patrick. Right, now this takes us to our next speaker. Again, okay, I'm seeing Ingun all over the screen here, so I'm gonna try, there we are. Okay, lovely. So our wave, we're still surfing. I hope everybody is still on their surfboards and, still hanging in there. Apparently, when you are surfing, one of the key things when you're on the wave is that you need to tuck in your tummy so that your core stays strong and you don't fall off your surfboard. So I'm hoping that all of us are still able to stand on our surfs, and we are going to another country now. Gives me pleasure now to take our wave to the island of Sri Lanka to welcome our second keynote speaker, Mrs. Lakmini Wijandara. Mrs. Lakmini, are you here with us?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful. Welcome, ma'am. I'm going to quickly say a few words about Mrs. Lakmini. Let me see. Right. So she is the co-founder and CEO of Ion One Technologies and Bot PAC. She's a Sri Lankan technology entrepreneur who focuses on making Sri Lankan technology products gain global brand recognition. She strives to bring the next wave of unicorns and Forbes-ranked companies from countries such as Sri Lanka, which have natural technology innovation talent that is not tapped to its fullest potential. She heads the Ion One Technology and Board PAC, which were both recognized as award winners for camaraderie and awarded as one of the top 25 places to work in. Oh, wow, that deserves an applause. one of the top 25 places to work in Sri Lanka in 2020 by Great Place to Work Sri Lanka. She has a wealth of experience in leading global competitive expansion in enterprise solutions. She has won several accolades, but the one that I really want to mention is where she was awarded the Woman Leadership Award at Asia's IT's Excellence Awards. Congratulations to you, Lakmini. Before you share your story or your presentation with us, I would like to give you the opportunity for you to share with us who you are. Over to you.
So absolutely, it's wonderful to be part of this occasion. I've been really excited, and I've got to know this organization recently. I wish to thank Ingun and also our wonderful country ambassador Nilani Seniviratna for inviting me. I mean, it's really a pleasure. And so my presentation actually talks a little bit about me and what I've done and the risks I took to get here. So maybe I'll jump into that straight away because that might cover that anyway, if that's okay.
Yes, that's okay, ma'am.
So I will proceed and put up the screen. I hope everybody sees a little deck that I've put to guide me through this 15 minutes that I'm having with you all. So again, it's really a pleasure. And so I truly believe that the biggest risk that we take is not actually taking risks. And the previous speakers resonated this about how everything we do is really taking the boundary further. Some of us are doing, or most of us are doing things that nobody else has done before. So it's kind of scary, and that's all part of this. So every step we make opens up boundaries for many more people around the world. So I come from Sri Lanka, which is an island, as you mentioned, in Asia, very close to India. And I start out sort of just asking this question. I mean, did you know, and possibly even some of the Sri Lankan people don't know, that there is a company run and started by a Sri Lankan woman, which serves Forbes, Fortune 500 companies across the world. And we've done it all in Sri Lanka, homegrown, and taken it out to the world. And I mean, that really for me just shows that there are no boundaries, there are no ceilings. If you want to do something, just take the risk. Of course, people don't believe things can be done before they see it, but that's the fun of it. So I just wanted to put that question because that's my story. And we are across 40 countries. It didn't happen in a day, and I'll talk about that. Every step of the way, every one of these dots is most likely a sort of a risk, reputational risk, a risk in finances, a risk in all sorts of things to make this happen. So this looks like a glorious set of 40 odd dots, but it really is, every dot is a story on its own. And I'll share some of it today. And as I mentioned, these companies are across several countries. Of course, almost all of the Sri Lankan top 10 companies are using us. And this is, I forgot to mention, it's for the boards. It's for companies. Every company, every large company has a set of board members and top level people. And those people are very, they require premium experience. They don't settle for anything less. They're very, very hard to please. And we've successfully done so. So we started out in obviously Sri Lanka, and then you can see companies like Mercedes, Ernst & Young, Deloitte, and they're very pleased to say that companies such as the Bank Negara, which is the central bank of Malaysia, stock exchanges of Malaysia, even India, believe it or not, the central bank, the stock exchanges, Bank of Singapore, I can go on. So we just don't serve anybody. We serve the topmost. And this is a Sri Lankan company that pretty much started by me, and of course now with many people now. As you mentioned, we've been winning quite a lot of awards because we've worked hard. And when we present this, the awards recognize this. And just recently, about couple of weeks ago, we got Asia's Best Workplace too. So we are, in Asia's Best Workplace as well. So that's quite a pride, and many others. And it has we've built up a multinational team now from the US to Asia Pac to South Africa, many countries. So this again, like I said, these things did not happen overnight. And there's always like a story behind it. But I truly believe from day one, I believe that if we set our mind to something, and if we didn't like listen to the buzz out there, it can be done. It's only the buzz out there that blocks us and makes us think we can't do it. So none of this would be possible if a risk wasn't taken at every point. So I start out at the beginning. So when I started out, apart from having some kind of passion and something inside me saying, I got to do something like that impacts worldwide and not just Sri Lanka. I obviously loved maths, and computer science was my thing. It was a natural thing, and I had to do something I knew. So that's why software. And when I came back after my studies, for about 3, 4, 5 years, I worked in 2 companies in Sri Lanka, in Colombo, gathered some confidence, some understanding of the world, so to say. And then I always wanted to start on my own. But I was so fearful. I did not know finance. I wasn't really good with people, I thought. I don't know, maybe I'm not still, but that's something. And so I was obviously fearful. And I hear a lot of younger women, not only women and men, have the same fear now of asking me, like, how did you start? And actually, that's really a big point. Just starting is one of the biggest hurdles, because all of us, 80% of us I speak with, have ideas of starting something. They've got brilliant ideas, and some of them are like really great if they're activated. But the problem is the start. So in my case too, it took about 2 years. I used to ask a lot of my friends. So I've got my dog here coming and disturbing me. Sorry about that. I kept asking my friends to get reassurance. And as you can see, this picture talks about trying again and trying again. It is because it was really like that. I mean, until the lead up to BoatPack, it was a lot of that. And I mean, in terms of the first start, it happened because I had been talking to a lot of friends about me wanting to start up, and they kind of knew my aspiration. So the universe or my friends sort of kept on knocking on my door saying, I know so and so, I know so and so, that kind of thing. And that is how the first started. And without that first step starting, I don't believe that none of this would have happened. So the first start was really a Boston Stock Exchange related project was there back in the day when I was working still. And they wanted someone reliable to start the operation in Sri Lanka. This was my garage startup. So I took my parents' garage with or without their approval really, and started this. We had about 15 people, but very soon, long story short, it crashed. The dot-com boom crashed, all our contracts crashed. I had 15 people in my garage, with families to pay. Quite inexperienced on not planning finance at that point, because I had just started, right? And we had contracts. I had to face this. It was probably, I would say, even up to today, the most difficult experience, not because I have had bigger challenge. I mean, I've had bigger challenges now, but I'm stronger, I'm more experienced, I can handle them. I have more people now. But that day was a pretty alone day. But I look back at that, and if I could have gone through that and got through to what I do now, anyone can do it, really, because I somehow didn't want to go back to working. We scrambled. We couldn't keep all 15. We were very honest with them. We spoke with them and restarted again in the garage. I believe about 5 of us. And that particular product I started is doing really well in Sri Lanka. It's got 80% of the market share in the stock exchange arena today, which I'm not going to talk about even. But so moving on, BoatPack itself is a whole bunch of risks every step of the way for us to move up. So the first thing was, as we started, we got an opportunity to go to Malaysia. I hardly had the product. And the story was that we got a chance to meet the CEO at a Sri Lanka telecom meeting. And he asked me, Lakmini, do you have a partner? Would you like to come to Malaysia? And typically my answer usually is like, yes, before the mind goes through it and blocks it. So we were there the next day. Mahathir Mohamad's son, extremely important people at that time I'd never met before. They loved us. I mean, we hardly had a product. It gave me so much confidence that you really don't have to do much to get to the next level. You have to keep pushing and make the people believe you can do it. So similarly, so many experiences. So these are some pictures I'm sharing of the Malaysia experience with Maxis. As you can see, it's so vibrant. They were so welcoming. Again, these are very nice pictures of the nice times, but it's a lot of tough times to get through to this, which I cannot elaborate today with lack of time. But then before long, we opened up Africa. That was a risk. I mean, we hardly had funding at that point, but again, it was through a contact and we did so. And I'm really glad it's one of our biggest markets. We're doing really well. As you can see, Vodacom came in. It took me 3 years to take that risk into something that's positive. As you mentioned, the Ernst & Young, that just opened up global networks. It was a little premature for me because I wasn't ready. And when it had global networks, I got distracted. I wanted to go everywhere. So that risk was a little too much, and it actually maybe hampered some of my progress. But again, it's about us. So this is actually some wonderful people I met in Monaco at the Ernst & Young main awards, where we were actually one of the vendors. They selected us as a vendor, BoatPack, to incredible. And so the story really goes to being able to also say no. It's a really tough thing when we are growing and so many opportunities come to us. We can get distracted with all sorts of opportunities and end up not doing what we have to. So that's kind of my phase now, to be very focused, not really letting go of those opportunities, but placing them in a line so that we don't exhaust ourselves and not do anything. And this is a picture of my office in Colombo. As you can see, Colombo is one of the most beautiful cities, and that's showing the port city and the Indian Ocean over there. That's a real picture from my boardroom over there in office. And so that, again, so the risks, I believe, had to be moderated and carefully managed as we grew, because taking too much risk at a certain point kind of crashes us in terms of my business. Again, this is showing, so we were very confident and we set up governance, professional certification, which was taken up so well. This says 200, but we've surpassed it some time ago. And we have people across the world who are certified, and they put us in LinkedIn and things like that as a certification, like right up there with their other certifications. And it gives us a lot of pride. So overall, coming towards the end of my presentation, we are going towards the goal of being $1 billion company. Sometimes when I say this in Sri Lanka, not only in Sri Lanka, some people think, is that possible for a Sri Lankan company? Is that possible for, I mean, you look at me, I look like a timid girl or something. But the fact is, we are on our track, and we make people believe it, and it's happening. And wherever we've gone, we've not been second to anybody in global board management, and that's what's going to be done around the world as we grow. And within 5 years, I'd love to come back to one of your forums and tell you the story of how we made it as a surpassed $1 billion company. And I mean, that's really my story. And I was told that there's like a question and answer session later, and I'd love to answer anybody's questions if they'd like to. I hope I've met with my time, and is that?
Mrs. Lakmini, that is the most awesome story. Awesome story that we've had. Thank you so much. I believe, and I see Gita has also commented to that, we are going to see you here in less than 5 years.
Oh
and
my God,
those
yes.
$1 billion you are going to make in less than that time, because remember, when women come together and when women start looking at their own businesses and their own strategies, and they look at your company and they say, we want to work and partner with this company, that's where the billions are going to come from. This has been such a powerful session. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you to your dog for joining us as well.
Yeah, it's disturbed me quite a bit. I kept the closed doors, but he's opened it and come in. Sorry about that.
It's because he or she could feel the energy of these women from across the world and wanted to be part of this. So audience, I can see your comments. Everybody is just so impressed, with our 2 presentations that we've had. Tato, do you want to come on video? And we're going to do a quick, question and answer. If you have any, questions that you would like to pose either to Mrs. Lakmini or to Mrs. Jang, please type them in the chat box, and then we will, allow them to be able to respond. But Tato, what do you think? I mean, our country is featured. Vodacom is featured. I'm going to tell my Vodacom friends that I love.
I love seeing South Africa everywhere. So, but Tebello, I must say that I literally have goosebumps. I literally do, from both the speakers, right, from Mrs. Jang and from Lakmini. Looking at, for me, it's a continuum of the incredible power of women. When we look at Mrs. Young, the hardships that she had as a single mother, having to be disgraced, having to be sidelined at family events just because she's a single mother, and all the hardships that she's going through in her country. It is pain. It is heart-wrenching to see that, especially for me as a single mother as well. I can so relate with this, and I'm just imagining what I would do if I had those challenges. And then to the other side, of Lakmini, where she started in the garage, from the garage to the $1 billion company. I mean, what is that? Is just mind blowing, right? So I literally have, goosebumps, and I want to give an opportunity. I see Ingun has got her hand, but for me, this is just testimony and evidence of the incredible power and that feminine energy that we speak about, that authentic feminine energy of women. And that is what we are about here at Female Wave of Change. It is to unlock and ignite that power that you are feeling inside of you, bring it to the forth, bring it to the universe, and let the universe carry it through. Ingun, you've got a comment, question? And I'm going to look to the chat box as well for other comments. We've got a few minutes for that.
Yes, thank you, Tato. And really my deep respect for both ladies, because it's amazing. And the stories are so different, but on the other hand, they're so the same. And that is fantastic to see. I do have a question to Lakmini. And I know building an organization like Female Wave of Change, that's a whole other scale, what we're talking about. But people, they come to me and ask me the question, so what kind of plan, like what kind of business plan did you have in the beginning? And I said, well, if I really had a business plan, it would never have become as big as it is now. So how about you? How did I can, you just make your dreams bigger and your plans bigger on the way. But it doesn't start when you are in your garage. You don't see this 1 billion company, do you?
No. So you're right. It's all based on experience, and experience expands based on people you meet and people you have to interact with, and they expand your universe. So we can't articulate. I mean, we all want to do big things as children. We want to be this something great, but that's not articulated and we don't know what it is. So you're quite right. When starting out, I didn't want to be that forever. That's all I knew. So we keep searching, we're curious, and we try to find people who motivate us and inspire us, and we kind of become like them. So I hope that answer. I did not have a business plan when I started.
Hey. Well, you only make a business plan, I always say, when you do need to go to the bank right away and need to borrow a lot of money. Then you need that very extended business plan, but not when you start out of your garage and just feel like from deep inside of you that you just have to do this. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Wonderful, Ingrid, thank you. And I think that message goes for all of us, that even when you don't have a business plan, but you have an idea and you have a vision and you have a mission, you go for it. There's a question from Stephanie for you, for Lakmini. Do you have offices in South Korea?
Not yet. South Korea is a country we haven't yet gone to, but it is certainly in my map to go to. Within the 5 years, maybe within the next 2 years, I'd love to be connected.
Wonderful, because you have 2 South Koreans that are with us here. Hyo-jong and Daeong can be, the people that get you into South Korea. So this is how we use the network. And for you, Hyo-jong, what do your children say when they look at all what you have done and what you have achieved right up to this point, noting the challenges that single parents still have, and as you articulated, they still have in the country. But when you engage with your children, what do they say to you as their mother?
So Tebalo, please excuse us. Let me be her translator. Okay? Yes. 장 대표님, 그 엄마가 하는 일을 보면서 아이들이 대표님에게 뭐라고 얘기하는지가 궁금하다고 합니다.
제가 돌봐주진 잘 못하지만 아이들이 저에게 자랑스럽다고 얘기하고 있어요. 엄마 덕분에 잘 컸다고.
Well, they say even though she could not take care of them properly, because she was so busy, she has been so busy, but they say they are very proud of her. They say they are proud of their mom, and they say thanks to her, they could survive and prosper.
Oh, that is beautiful. That's powerful. Thank you so much for that. Tato, any other question? That's powerful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You are muted, Tato.
Sorry, there was a hand that I saw, but I see it's now down. So I'm not sure.
Ferial, you had your hand up. I don't know if you still want to ask the question or make the comment. If they're not coming up, let's quickly look at this one. Gita says she would have asked the question to Lakmini, what fuels the fire in your eyes?
Oh gosh, I think there's an inner, I'm built to thrive on pushing always, never to be, I'm never happy when things are comfortable. And sometimes people in the company find it quite difficult for me because as soon as things are getting like really nice, I break it. But that's how we grow. So I don't know what it is. I'm built that way. in every sense of my life. And I think lots of entrepreneurs do have that. I hope that answers that question.
Oh, definitely. I think it does. And I mean, obviously, you continue to have that fire, and when things get comfortable, you move on onto something else. And I suppose for all of us here, there's also the element that being a woman, when that happens and you're saying to everybody, we are moving on to the next level, I suppose people that work with you have now realized that this is the leader that we have, whether you would have been a woman or a man, but they just know that this is the leader that you are, correct?
Yes.
Wow.
There's a last question from Muriel to Lakmini again. What was your experience raising funds as a woman?
Okay, so very interesting question. So I obviously I had to start investing. So initially we did talk to some people who were doing funding, but at that point I felt a little uncomfortable that it was a little too early. So we went out and got funding from banks. So I've fueled this so far with loans, and as we speak now, I have realized that we have to get tremendous funding for my $1 billion plan. It is not possible to grow organically. And we're out there talking to funding people. And I've decided to be bold. I've decided to be, so we haven't yet secured the funding, but I'm pretty confident we are going to do it. My model is that we're going to be bold and try to get people who will believe in us that we can achieve this. And if they don't, I mean, literally, that's not the right funder. So this is this is my experience. I haven't had bad experiences, if you know what I'm saying. But I don't have enough experience to tell you good experiences either. But I strongly do believe that confidence plays a big role. And it took me a while because I was setting up smaller plans in the last couple of months. And we've now gone in for this funding round. And we've decided to go bold. I've decided to go bold. And just, so I don't know whether that explains it. I do have some advice to parties that start. I think I stayed too long before opening up for funding. That fear I had earlier and going for the loans. Retrospect, I would be, I mean, the company would be a lot bigger if I did the funding then. And maybe we were, you know, and also COVID created uncertainty a lot in lots of companies, and we couldn't grow the last 2 years the way we wanted to. So in that respect, I would advise, like, I mean, anyone, and especially females, to just go out there, put your plan, and stand steady. And if you're steady, the people, because obviously the people who are going to fund you, it's their money, and they want to see someone confident taking their money and doing something. I have no experience to say this, but I kind of feel that man or woman, if they're standing confidently, they could break that myth or barrier of someone thinking, oh, this is a woman or this is a man, because I've always gone into meetings and many of these early wins have been mine. And I've been a lot younger as well, you know, more timid than this even. And they've believed in me and they've taken it. So I don't really put a filter saying, oh, I'm a woman, now they're going to be treating me differently. I just go out there. I've got a good product. I can speak well. I can get this done. Wow. And if they miss it, that's their problem. So I have that. Wow. Yeah, so I'm going to stop there really.
Yeah. So, oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. But as most of you, in fact, all of you know, I am a crypto enthusiast, and I'm just saying, if all of us had bought a couple of coins, we can get you that billion. So let's look at the crypto world and see how we help you to get that billion. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for that Q&A. And I think we got, you know, some awesome responses and input from both our keynote speakers, to Mrs. Shang and to Mrs. Lakmini. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. We hope that you'll be able to join us, for most of the day, if not for the rest of the day. We are now ready to move on to the next part of our program, and we're still on the wave. I hope you're still hanging on. If you fell into the water, hope you managed to get up, and one of us have pulled you up to be able to say, hey, get on your board again, and we are, surfing again. Now we are surfing to Pakistan, and the conversation that's going to be held with our female Wave of Change ambassador in Pakistan will be led by our founder, Ingun Bol. Ingun, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Tabello. And Shad just arrived in time, so I'm happy to welcome you. Where are you? Can I see you? I see you're here.
Yes. Hi, Ingun.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. Yeah.
So good to see you. And, Shad has also been with us for quite some years. And I know, when people start for Female Wave of Change as an ambassador, you hope that there's so much going on in that country. But on the other hand, if you see and you follow Shad and what she's doing, that is really amazing. So, that is also already so much impact that she is creating. So Shad, well, we did prepare a little bit this morning what we are going to talk about. So I just told you, speak from your heart. And our keynote speaker, Dr. Amina, yesterday said, don't tell their story, let them tell their own story. So Shad, who are you? And what is your big why? Why are you doing all these things?
Thank you, Ingun. And I'm just so happy that I'm part of such an amazing group of women around the world. Those are connected on this platform, Female Waves of Change. And I'm so happy that I'm also part of it. Since the day I am part of it, I'm meeting women around the world, like almost every day. So many amazing things are going on. And I would say, yes, thank you, Ingwen, thank you, Rini, and all the people for bringing us together and making all these efforts, because, despite that we are living far from each other and there are so many challenges in the world, but when we are hearing the stories of courage of every woman, so that is actually motivating us and, keep us motivated that, yes, whatever we are doing, we need to do a lot and we can do it. So the work I'm doing in Pakistan is, what we women are doing in each part of the world to make this world a better place for everyone, not only for women, for children, for youth, for elder people, for transgenders, for everyone, because we believe in humanity, we believe in diversity, we believe in peaceful coexistence. So I'm also working in Pakistan for the empowerment of the local community. But of course, my work is more focused on women, because still the statistics shows that women are not part of the mainstream, the development mainstream. They are still far behind when it comes to education, health, politics, even banking and all these things. So women are still far behind. So we talk about equality, but we also talk about equity, because lots of women are still far behind. So we are focusing on women, first of all, to bring them to the mainstream. And then one day soon we will be talking about the equality. So that's my work going on. And I started my journey when I was very young, almost like 19-year-old. My journey still continue. And I'm mostly working with women for their economic and political empowerment. And despite lots of challenges, we have good achievements as well. Like every day, we are making good progress towards our vision. And I'm happy. When I was starting my journey, so I was alone. I was, around few women leaders, but now I'm happy that even from my hometown, every day I see young girls joining politics, joining media, joining sports, and all these things. It means that, women are coming up and they're taking up the leading positions, which is actually my vision. So with the Female Waves of Change, we're also trying to create impact in Pakistan. We're trying to connect young women and women leaders who are already active in different sectors, so they also could join this Female Waves of Change. Because why this is important? we always say that we women have lots of challenges around the world. So one of the solution is to come together, share our experiences with each other, motivate each other, and just complement each other's strengths with each other. So that's why I am part of the Female Waves of Change, and I'm looking forward to a very bright future for Female Waves of Change, becoming more active on the ground. Yes, there were lots of challenges because in our country, lots of laws are changing, and there are new regulations coming on. So even the COVID pandemic and some other things, they actually were the big hurdles for us, like achieving or more targets and becoming more visible. But yes, when I see Female Waves of Change growing in other countries, so that is the spirit always telling me that Shad, we also need to start doing activities. And we were active, we have done actually lots of activities, lots of things. So based on all these things, we will be building, and I'm looking forward to all sisters at the Female Waves of Change that count Pakistan be with you all, and we are standing united for all these things together in the world.
Thank you, Shad. And you have already mentioned some challenges that the Pakistan women are facing, but can you dive a little bit more into that? Because I really think that those challenges are different from other parts of the world.
Yeah, so I would say in Pakistan, of course, things are progressing as well, but the speed of the progress is not actually what we need on the ground. So the challenges are also growing. And recently, the COVID pandemic has contributed to the challenges, for making it womenly, because, I would just say that there is still a huge number of young girls is out of school, which is a big challenge for not only for the state, but also for the organizations and, all the networks, those are working for the girls. And when it comes to the health facilities, so still there are so many areas where women do not have access to the basic health facilities. So our mortality rate is also very high. And then we have kind of conflicts in different regions. So the conflict is also very directly affecting women's lives. And when it comes to addressing needs of the local communities, so we have seen that most of the women are missing from the data, and most of the women are missing from the rehabilitation process, from the reconstruction process. Because when we see the world is well aware that how conflict are more affecting women and children in such cultures. So keeping in mind that thing, that whenever we are addressing the issues, then of course we need to keep in mind. So we all the time advocate for women's representation, women voices, women needs with the lobbies, with the relevant lobbies. And of course, and then it's also amplified on these challenges on the women's participation in the economic activities. Recently, the State Bank of Pakistan has launched a policy this year, just a few days ago. That policy is very encouraging, but the findings this policy shared, that those were actually very much discouraging among women. Like, for example, let's say, I will just share one example that, in Pakistan, in 100% men, 81% men have bank account, but, in 100% women, only around 29% women hold bank account. So that is just one area which is showing that how much women have access to their resources, how much they have the authority to utilize, or where they should keep their resources, where they should spend their financial resources. So that is saying the entire story of their ownership of the property and all these things. So, and then, in the banking sector, itself, women are very less in Pakistan, not only in Pakistan, around the world. So that is one area which, like, very, very much important for women, because economic empowerment is the key to all empowerment. But, Ingrid, I would say, if you see all these challenges, so one of the area which is actually contributing to all these sectors is that lack of women representation in the decision-making bodies. That's why I'm much focusing in Pakistan on women's, increase the representation in the politics, because if they will be not part of the politics, of course they do not have access to the legislation, access to the division of the resources, and women pro policies and all these things. So yes, Pakistan is among those countries where somehow we have good representation in number of women in the parliament in these things. But when it comes to the decisions, so of course we're still far behind that thing. So we are, hopeful that in the coming future, because of the programs right now going on, because of the efforts going on, those trying to highlight and raise women's voices, and also training women to prepare them technically how to join politics and how to deliver on those positions. So all these challenges are there, and I would say we are making the progress, but of course I'm worried about the progress, the speed, because we need to a little bit make more effort. I'm just concluding this with this one thing, Ingwen. In the pandemic, we realized that the world is becoming more digitalized, right? In today we are meeting around the world, which is an opportunity, but we also realized that the development we made now, it's became more challenging to involve more women, because now after the pandemic, everything is online. And a huge number of women in countries like Pakistan do not know how to utilize the technology. They're not even basic, they do not have even basic literacy. So if everything is becoming online, so it means today it's became a more challenging thing for us to include women in all these sectors. So IT is also now becoming a sector where we need to prepare women. And I am hopeful that we all women, powerful women around the world, will try to address these issues at the policy level. Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Yes, there's a lot of challenges still, and it's good to share it, and thank you for all the amazing work that you do. There's one last question, because you always emphasize that the young women need to be involved. So you also actually for today, you wanted to really do something with those younger women. Share why the younger women.
Yeah, the younger women, because, I would say this is, research is also saying, the youth are always very eager to take part and take leading positions, right? And we also have seen the today's generation, which is very much vibrant, which very much, when it comes, like, very much vocal about their rights. And we have seen recent examples in our country. They have zero tolerance for the inequality. So that is the area we need to invest more in it, by helping these women to learn from your experience, from my experience. Because if England has worked for 40 years, I have worked for 20 years. So we need to help women not to spend more 30 years, more 20 years. They need to learn from our experiences, and we are here to help the young women. So the challenges I mentioned, like, I would not spend 100 more years for this, because when we see the gender disparity, like, the reports coming in the local level, in the global level, so we can actually rely on the youth, because they have the potential. The only thing is that we need to bring them together to platforms like the female waves of change, so we can build that, generation bridge with them. That is the only thing. So I'm so much hopeful from the young women in Pakistan, and even in Afghanistan. You see what's going on right now in Afghanistan, but you see parallel voices coming up, and they are even protesting for their rights. So that is showing the courage and the resilience, which is actually giving us hope as well, that we will never give up. So yes, I rely on women, young women, and they need to be part of each and every program. And this is the challenge for us and for all of us as well, that we need to build shadow leadership among these young women, and they're far better to take the lead. Yeah.
Mute. Thank you very much, Shad. And I think we are impressed by the story, and we love to welcome these younger women in our organization. We really feel the need to be here. It's their future that we are reshaping. So please involve them. The other thing is, and that is also what I'm talking about in my speech, I challenge the older generations to be involved, to be the mentors, the guides, the storytellers, etc., but also to really challenge the younger women to join in. The time's up, so we're really anxious about that, but I see that Renee has raised her hand. Short question, Renee.
Yeah, just a very quick comment, because I think, Shad, thank you for joining, Shad. I think you have been really modest about what you have done yourself in, enabling women to be in influential positions on local level in politics. So I just want to highlight that, because you have made such an impact and such a difference. So that was the one that I wanted to add, Shad.
Absolutely. Renee, I totally agree with you. Thank you very much, Shad, for joining us. And let's get all these women from Pakistan involved. Really looking forward to that, and share our knowledge and experience to also support you in all your efforts.
Yes, thank you, and looking forward to so many initiatives together. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, back to you.
Thank you, Ingun, and thank you, Shad. And ladies and gentlemen, Shad is a TEDx speaker. I know she doesn't like to make noise about it, but we have to be proud that we have a TEDx speaker amongst us who is doing all this wonderful work in terms of, sharing the message about what's happening in her country and her region, and the message we've heard about, getting young people involved. It still saddens me when I hear about communities around the world where technology is still not available. And because of that, it's limiting a lot of young people, both boys and girls, to be able to connect with the world and to see how the world is moving and its way it's moving to. In fact, yesterday, somebody asked me on the side to say, is there a pillar that's talking about digital, and listening to, Lakmini earlier and listening to the comment from Shad, I'm starting to say there might be something that, long-term we could be looking at, or soon we could be looking at on the digital side. So thank you very much for that conversation. And we continue to look forward to working with you, Shad, and other members of your team, as we continue to make the change in the world, and we create this wave in the world. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we know that in every workout, we've been surfing from 9 o'clock up to now, right? And we've been standing on these surfboards, and some of us, our knees and legs are starting to wobble a bit. So we know in every workout, we do need to take a bit of break and be able to recharge our batteries and get our breath back again. So at this moment, we're going to be recharging for a while for the next, Viola, is 10 minutes okay, or still 15 minutes?
Good morning, all. Let's head for 10 minutes and I'll play to see if I catch 5 minutes.
So
let's see how are you. I can see you, I can see you.
Lovely.
Good morning, everybody.
Led on this session by our Female Wave of Change Circle of Wise Women member, Viola Edward. Please participate, because the wave is going to be big and the surfing is going to be hectic after this. Viola, over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And again, such a pleasure to be with you all. Very good morning from Cyprus. And one thing I want to share with you is that breathing is far more than the exchange of air. It is a language. It is a reflection of the quality of life force, that it is expressed to the body, mind, heart, emotion. Every breath that we take mirrors our conscious.
Viola, you're muted.
I was not. It got muted because of the. So did you hear me what I was saying, or shall I repeat?
Please repeat.
Okay. So welcome you all, and I'm most happy to be with you today from Cyprus. One thing I want to share with you is about breathing before we go into the exercise, and the understanding that breathing is far more than the exchange of air. It is a language. It is a reflection of the quality of life force as it is expressed to the body, mind, heart, emotion. Every breath that we take mirrors our conscious and unconscious thought, the emotions, the feeling, sensation that we experience in every moment. The breath can also be a reflection of deeply held emotion, traumas, or habitual pattern of tension that have been carried from long ago. Could be from the moment of conception or the experience of birth, or the conditioning imprinted by family, culture, and the journey of life. So for that, it's so important to be aware how we breathe and take the pause to really give ourselves the time to one breath at a time, one day at a time. We have so many things to be able to learn, to do, and especially as we in Female Wave of Change, we have so much to do. We really want to express ourselves, and we really want to do wide and high. So what best than our breathing accompany us in every moment. I just came back from Athens and Istanbul, couldn't stop talking about Female Wave of Change and how much those wave is getting so far. And some news for you a little bit later. So every time we have an event like this, Female Wave of Change will give you a booklet that me and my colleague, Dr. Ella Manga from South Africa, we created for you all to be able to check on your breathing. There is 10 items you can check on your breathing, and there is 10 exercises you can do so you can improve the quality of your breathing. When we improve the quality of our breathing, we improve the quality of the way, where is my fan? We improve the quality of how we think and how we act. So I have always, I'll find it soon for you. I always have a model how I show you when we're breathing in a dysfunctional way and how we're breathing in a functional way. So let's now go into an exercise that is we inherited from the Leonard Orr, from the man who created conscious connected breathing in late 60s, early 70s. And he taught us something quite interesting. He said, and I learned since 1993, you know, when people say, I need to count to 10, change that, change it. Instead of counting to 10, that usually you count without breathing and you answer 10 seconds later what you thought you were going to answer 10 seconds before, let's change it by 20 conscious connected breathing. So I'm going to do it now with some images and some sound. You see me to see me, but you can do it very quiet and very gentle so nobody will notice. And that will give you a chance, just a chance, first to breathe the force of life, and second to take more chance to be able to answer what is related to your authentic self, and slowly, slowly heal the world of reactions. Okay, so we're gonna do 4 sets of 4 short breathing from the nose, inhaling and exhaling, and 1 long breathing. And we're gonna do 4 sets of those. And that hopefully will be your tools forever and ever for those who didn't do it yet. So we're gonna always try to breathe from the nose. There are certain exercises you can do from the mouth, but remember, this is the place we were given by nature, by life, to breathe. And for many reasons, it's very important to relearn how to breathe from the nose. So I'm gonna count for you, and then we're gonna do short breathing. And short breathing mean like, it's like from here, short. And then the 5th one gonna be as long as you can, but without hurting yourself. And keep your eyes open. I'm going around the world, I'm telling people, please breathe with your eyes open. We need to enter to relationship with eyes open, to network with eyes open, walk with eyes open. And later we have time to meditate and to use our eyes, to close our eyes for other exercises. Let's now be more eyes open to be able to do all what we want to do in Female Wave of Change, or wherever you are in the world. So from the nose. Long one. As long as you can without hurting yourself, without, and exhale. Experience the exhale like you have all the time of the world, and we go again. Long. Exhale gently, slowly. Connect again, 3rd set. Last one. Relax. Breathe normally as you breathe. Shake your shoulder a little bit. Look to the front. Smile. Smile. Open your eyes. And see now, how do you feel inside? Are the lungs a little bit more expanded? Are you feeling yourself a little bit more? Okay, excellent. Now we're gonna do another. Just let me know when I'm in 8 minutes, Tebello, if you're so kind, please. Are you all there with me? Okay, very good. So, for those of you who smoke or used to smoke, remember, don't be upset. Another lesson I learned is that people who smoke are the people who exercise more the breathing. But the wrong air. I was so upset because I was a chain smoker and I damaged one of my lungs. And when I get that lesson, he said, again, Leonard Orr said, hey, you know how to breathe. You just have to change the quality of air. So for all of you, remember, if you stop smoking, remember that those lungs need to exercise again and come back to life. So exercise breathing in the good quality air. For those who still smoking, please do, every time you want to catch a cigarette, to do 5 breathing long like this. Look, we can use the mouse now because smoking we do like this, look. And then let it go. Again. Let it go. Third one. And let it go. Fourth. Let it go. And fifth. And let it go. Please now look at the urge of taking a cigarette. 9 out of 10, you don't want a cigarette. So don't force yourself. And next time you have the urge to have a cigarette, do it again. So maybe with this, you will not stop smoking, but you will minimize the cigarette that you're gonna have in a day. And for those who still smoking, and it's strange that I'm talking about smoking. I just came from Greece, from Athens, and from Istanbul. And you know, the voice I have now because I'm allergic to cigarette is quite stunning how many people still smoking and so much. So for that, I'm connected with that. And maybe some of you will tell me, you know, I have so much problem and you know, and cigarette is related to release. Actually, it's not the cigarette. You're right, it's the breath. It's the breath that you get through the cigarette. So let's do it in that way. First, you delay the catching the cigarette by this breathing. And secondly, for those of you who really want to stop smoking, because you're going to do a huge goodness for yourself and for the planet. So what you can do is to stop smoking one morning in a week. Any morning that you choose, it just have to be the same morning, yeah? Monday morning. Monday morning, I don't smoke. If you don't smoke anyway in the morning, so you stop Monday afternoon. And for like 7 weeks or so, you just don't smoke one morning, the same morning every week. When people offer you a cigarette and you said, no, Monday morning, I don't smoke. So your brain gets the message that you also can decide. When you feel comfortable that you stop Monday morning, so you go Monday afternoon. And you do another 7 weeks or however you want. When you feel comfortable that you stop morning and afternoon, then you stop Monday fully. And when people ask you, did you stop smoking? You said, no, I just don't smoke on Monday. So you and your system, your emotional being, your brain is getting the message. You also manage, know how to do the la gestión, we say in Spanish. You direct, you manage the way how you smoke. When you feel very comfortable and you stop 1 day in a week, maybe after 3 months, maybe after 6 months, really, it doesn't matter in a way. It does matter, but it doesn't matter in a way because you are on your way. So you choose another day and you do again, morning, afternoon, and night. And then you're gonna have 2 days in a week. When you achieve your 3rd day in a week, you will stop smoking. You will stop smoking in a kind way. You will stop smoking because you will enjoy the way how you're learning how to breathe the good air, not the polluted air. How do you feel with this exercise? Let me know. If you're okay, just put your hand up. I'm gonna just put your finger up. Who's gonna do this? Who feels gonna do this? Perfect. Yes, wonderful. Very good. So as we do this now, let's go to another breathing exercise that will help us to also dominate, manage is a better word, the pause that sometimes we have unconsciously in our breathing. Let's have a conscious pause in our breathing. And let's do now the square breathing. Yes, we're gonna count 5 in the inhale. We're gonna pause 5. We count again 5 on the exhale, and then we pause 5. Is that okay? Okay, let's go. You exhale, and then we're gonna be inhaling in 5. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. Okay, we'll do it again without me counting with my voice, but counting with my fingers. Is that okay? Let's go. Inhale. Relax. How did you feel with this one? Is that as easy as the first one or a little bit more difficult? Hand up. Okay. So it's very important to do conscious pause. So you go into conscious pause, and that will help you not to pause unconsciously. And you can see when you start having headache, when you feel the mouth so dry, or when you're so angry from nothing or from almost nothing, it's because you stop breathing. So it's very important. Breath is your ally wherever you are. Even next time we can do other exercises. How we're doing with the time, Tebello? 1 minute?
Just 1 minute, yes, please.
Just 1 minute. I love you all. Ingun, thank you so much for creating Female Wave of Change. Thank you all, our ambassador, the Inner Circle of Wise Women, all the people who are related to Female Wave of Change. I am a silent activist since I was 11. My voice came out when I was 13. And since then, I don't shut up. But what breathwork have done with me, I have to tell you this secret. What breathwork and psychotherapy have done with me, and I'm talking about psychotherapy because in some minutes, we're gonna have a conversation between psychotherapists about emotional well-being. Psychotherapists and breathwork did for me that I stopped fighting with my parent. I stopped fighting with people that I love so much. And when I reorganized my life, when my emotional being was already in order, all that strength that I used to use unconsciously, now I use it very consciously to know. I know I'm not going to save the world, but I know I have a duty and social responsibility with one corner of the world. And that corner with organization as female wave of change every time become bigger and bigger. And this is the impact we have. So please keep your conscious breathing going and work in your emotional well-being, and let's do it all together. Thank you so much for this space.
Thank you very much, Viola, for the intermezzo. It was really wonderful, and I hope we have all managed to recharge in our own way, because remember I said the wave is getting bigger and it's going to require us to stay, in the course of the wave, because now we are surfing on land, almost, rollerblading on land and surfing on sand, and that requires a lot more out of you. So it's going to require focus and energy. And now we've learned, ways to be able to get, that focus and energy. I am glad to welcome back Nawal Tarazi, who is a female Wave of Change board member, who will be moderating a conversation about moving from challenges to opportunities with the various ambassadors of the Middle East and Northern Africa region. Nawal, over to you, ladies. We are sitting at 11:08 right now. You will have the 30 minutes. So at 11:37, my video will come on so that we can conclude that session. Nawal, over to you.
Thank you, Tabello. Thank you, Viola, for such an inspiring breathing session. Good morning, good afternoon, our dear participants. For those who just joined, my name is Nawal Tarazi. I'm Jordanian living in Switzerland, a professor at the University in Geneva and the Female Wave of Change board member. I would like to thank you all for joining our global conference today from over 40 countries. Yes, we do have participants from over 40 countries around the world, and I hope this conference will serve as a platform of awareness and guidance to action. I'm privileged to present this upcoming session with remarkable ladies who come from countries where I come from, countries from the Middle East and North Africa, who will share with us a snapshot, just a brief one, some challenges and opportunities that occurred during the past year. In alphabetical order, in the names of the countries, we will start with Noor Mughrabi, our ambassador from Jordan, who will talk about care economy. No matter how small is the support that women can get, it can be translated into huge waves of hard work and contributions to the economy. Then Shada Kassab, our ambassador, and Fadia Ghanem, our wave maker from Lebanon, will shed the light on the effect of the challenges on the economic and educational sector in Lebanon, followed by Dr. Mina Al-Khali from Morocco, who will inspire us with a new development model that was initiated and put into action, benefiting Moroccan women in general and the handicapped women in particular. Then Adriana Meyer, our ambassador in Qatar, will take us through a journey of opportunities that has risen during the challenging conditions and opened new doors to women in Qatar. And we will end up with our ambassador in the UAE, United Arab Emirates, Lina Assad, who will provide some alarming facts about burnout and how can we avoid it. I would like to remind the participants that all comments, feedback, and contributions are welcomed in the chat box, and we'll try to get back to you at the end of the session, given time limitations. Noor Mughrabi, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you, Nawal. Thank you, everyone. Hello to everyone from Amman, Jordan. And very honored to be part of this discussion. And today, what I will cover is some brief about the evolving nature of the care economy in Jordan. So just let's start by letting you know that Jordan suffers very low economic participation of women, even pre-COVID pandemic, and it's considered one of the lowest worldwide at 13% of economic participation for women. Of course, the unemployment rates worldwide have increased, but in Jordan for women, they have hit 28%. And this was further analyzed in Jordan because as per social norms and gender roles, and also the different perceptions that women lie under it is very important to study what is the care burden on women and how this is affecting women's economic participation. I think this has always been the case, and it's just that officials started to pay more attention to this reality that women face. During the pandemic, the care burden on women was even more exacerbated and affected their ability to stay in the market, to search for opportunities negatively. And we, as activists in the area of economic empowerment of women, have led so many different efforts to raise the flag on this issue and bring it to officials' attention and entice several measures to be taken during the pandemic in order to help lift this burden. And as Nawal said, any kind of measures would be greatly helpful. So studies before the pandemic have shown that while Jordanians in general, and especially men, do not mind or do agree about women's right to work. However, when it comes to leaving a child with a relative, only 54% agreed and accepted. Returning after 5 p.m. to home is only accepted by 26% of the surveyed population. And that was even before the pandemic. During the pandemic, this burden doubled. Women were 17 times more likely to spend their time on direct and indirect care at home. Things including childcare, playing with children, helping children with homework, caring for the elderly and people with disabilities, laundry, dishes, taking out the garbage, groceries, cooking. All of these things were like piling up on women's shoulders, and very little was done to help them in the house and by the state. However, during this time, as I mentioned, we did succeed in bringing this more and more to officials' attention as an economic situation and not just household situation. So we were lucky to start seeing some measures being taken. And for example, the government issued one of the measures was that it requires the private sector to allow women with children under 11 years old to work flexibly from home. Also, we managed to push for gradual reopening of nurseries for children up to 4 years old, even during total lockdowns, to help especially women in the health sector report to work. Also, just recently, the government allowed instructions on home-based nurseries to cater for the increasing demand. And also, it is designing social norms campaigns on fathers' engagements in childcare. As well, the Social Security Corporation in Jordan is launching subsidies for childcare centers to allow them to continue operation, especially after they were hardly hit by the economic situation, and also to subsidize mothers for covering the first 6 months after childbirth with allowances for their children care. So we also managed to carry a national demand and supply survey analysis for childcare services, which is the first time it ever happens in Jordan, to kind of better understand what are the shortcomings and what are the expectations of both parents, mothers and childcare providers on this important sector. And also another study is being undergone by UN Women on the economic and employment impact of expansion of this sector. So what we saw is that even though the pandemic really hit women hard, and I'm one of the mothers that suffered a lot, and my colleagues in the MENA know that because we exchanged a lot on that. It's just that very refreshing and relieving to see this topic being brought up to more policy-making decision processes and to the attention of at least that kind of decisions. And most importantly, the government now is taking ownership and leading the coordination of efforts. So instead of having efforts here and there by private sector or civil society, now the government is taking more ownership, and I'm very happy to be part of that dialogue and discussion happening on the ground with the government of Jordan. It means that the government has started to realize and recognize the impact of care burden on women, and that it realized the importance of supporting and expanding childcare services, not only for the benefit of women, but also for the children and early childhood development, as well as job creation and expansion of the economy. I would like to stop here, and if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Noor. We'll keep the questions at the end, and we'll continue with the other ambassadors. Shada, please, the floor is yours.
Hello, am I well heard?
Yes, go ahead, Shada, we can hear you.
Okay, welcome to all. My name is Shada Kassab. Some of you might know me, but for those who don't, let me get into a quick introduction to lighten the mood. I want you to get to know me as much as I would like to get to know every single one of you. 5 years ago, my dear friend Rola called me and asked me a question. Would you like to spread waves of love and knowledge among people? My answer was quick, and I dove into that web space. We were the first who made Zoom webinars about various subjects regarding women and social justice. We then opted to launch this platform in the real world among many interested peers in Beirut, and especially here in Tripoli. Female Wave of Change taught me that no distance between us could undermine the fact that we are one unit in different points around the world. According to the latest study of Bloomberg, Lebanon's annual rate of inflation has risen to the highest of all countries, surpassing Zimbabwe and Venezuela, as the financial meltdown in the Middle East nation worsens. Lebanon is in the middle of a severe economic crisis that started in 2019, worsened by the COVID pandemic in 2020, and last year's explosion of the Beirut port. The value of the currency has collapsed. The unemployment has hugely increased, and electricity and medicine all are extremely in short supply. The currency has lost nearly 90% of its value and plunged 3/4 of residents into poverty. A lot of people, and particularly women, have their own private business, and they do run it successfully. Following my previous statement about the crisis, you can surmise how bad their economic situation is and how their products are stuck in limbo, unable to be turned into financial benefits. How to transform these challenges into opportunities. This is our main title. Yes, my friends, you are the beacon of hope for our economy to grow and prosper. How? By considering this conference as a stepping stone for Lebanese entrepreneurs and the rest of the world, to bridge us together and to bring our goods into light on a new international market. Women in business in Lebanon has developed and reached all sectors in the economy. They are inserted in various artisanal works such as handmade crafts, businesses, and agro-foods. Each single one of the members here today represents a vision of her future self as a Lebanese ambassador for peace and economy. Solidarity is key for success. Perseverance is our objective, and brainstorming is our means to achieve our goals. I'm honored for this opportunity to address you all. I wish this conference will serve its purpose and enrich your knowledge and experience, as well as bond you together as a community. Thank you.
Thank you, Shada. We want to hear from Fadia the effect on the education on the Lebanese market. Please go ahead.
Greetings, Female Wave of Change and our esteemed guests. I am Fadia Ghanem, a wavemaker from Lebanon. And today, I will talk about education, the powerful tool to change the world by revealing the challenges and opportunities leading the education sector in Lebanon and facing it. For those of you who don't know my country, allow me to take you on a small trip across 10,452 kilometers squared with a population of 4 million Lebanese and almost 2 million refugees. We have beautiful mountains and the coast by the sea. We enjoy 5 and a delicious cuisine, and our people are so generous and love to live. How? If you look at this series of pictures, they're only 2 years apart, but this is Lebanon today. You can find car queues across miles from a gas station to fill fuel, and people lining up in front of bakeries and pharmacies for daily bread and medicine. My country today is living through continuous turmoil and crisis, yet we are improving and protecting human rights while focusing on those of children and women. If you look at these numbers, this is the treasure of Lebanon. We have a very rich human capital, as we ranked 18th out of 137 countries in the quality of the educational system. And we ranked 4th internationally in the quality of science and math education in 2018. With almost 3,000 schools, 43.5% are public. We have almost 95,000 teachers across Lebanon, 87% being female, and almost 1 million students, 52.9% being female, with the same rate in universities in 2018. However, unfortunately, today, over 400,000 students are at risk of staying home with no schooling. Seeing this paradox, it is very logical to ask, how is all this possible? Let's break it down. As the COVID pandemic started to take over the world early 2020, an economic crisis started to unfold in Lebanon. And today, our local currency is at 90% devaluation. According to the UN, 78% of Lebanese now live below the poverty line. Adding on the collapsing economy due to corruption, the devastating port explosion in Beirut on August 4th, 2020, killed over 200 people, injured 7,500, and displaced 300,000 with $15 billion in property damages. And a daily 22-hour power cuts have become the norm, and shortages have hit daily necessities. As a direct result, many schools, students, and teachers have no access to proper internet and power for their online classes. These operational costs aren't the only challenge. Covering the cost of stationery, books, and transportation is a large burden on parents. A book today costs 13 times its original price, and school tuition fees are doubled. The closure of schools does not only mean skipping a scholastic year, but it also carries severe consequences on students' mental health, well-being, and self-esteem. The future of an entire generation is in jeopardy. It is on education that our country has always capitalized, breeding the world's finest thinkers, innovators, entrepreneurs, engineers, doctors, and scientists. Today, with no light beaming from the end of the tunnel, people are lighting their own torches to continue paving the way for a brighter future. Across history, women in Lebanon have been frontliners in advocating for human rights. Women rose as a leading force in the revolution of October 2019, raising their voices against corruption and patriarchy, and are still striving for justice, equality, and peace through fighting corruption. With all sectors collapsing in Lebanon, the educational sector remains our safety jacket. We can see the unity through grassroots initiatives, donating books and stationery, exchanging expertise, volunteering, tutoring, and mentoring. Countries are offering aid, and most recently, Australia donated 50,000 computers to Catholic schools, and the USAID has offered solar panels to rural towns. Everyone is helping in the simplest way they know how, for only together we can overcome these challenges. I wish to end on a bright note. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow has not yet come, but we have today. Let the wave of change begin by helping Lebanon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fadia. Thank you very much, Shada, for spotting out and shedding the light on what is happening in Lebanon. This is a platform of awareness to show the world what is happening and to look for guidance for similar expertise around the world. And of course, let's keep in mind, as Fadia said, that the waves never stop and the change is happening. And we are confident that tomorrow is a better day. We'll continue with Dr. Mina. Dr. Mina will take us through a journey of opportunities. Please go ahead, Dr. Mina.
Good morning, everybody. Do you hear me? Okay. So I'm Mina El Kali from Morocco, Female Wave of Change Ambassador in Morocco. I'm expert in autism and international consultant in inclusive education. Global advisor member on the Global Leadership Advisory Board in Bidienstrang. So I'm going to talk about new development in Morocco. New development model. We have 4 major axes of transformation in Morocco. We know that women with disabilities suffer from a double exclusion, a definitive alteration of social identity and poverty, without forgetting gender-related discrimination. The psychosocial representation of women with disabilities largely determines the marginalization of this population. This exclusion is manifested at several levels. But in Morocco, things are moving. The Special Commission on the Development Model has listed 4 main axes of transformation to achieve the objectives of the new development model. Diversified economy, enhanced human capital, inclusion of all, and sustainability of territories. About the third axe, inclusion of all, which targets also women with disabilities, the Commission advocates transformation through inclusion and solidarity. The objective is the participation of all Moroccan in the national dynamic of development. The Commission notes that all population must be included in the collective efforts, mainly through participation and equal access to economic opportunities, through social protection, and through openness and the acceptance of the diversity of Moroccan society. To do this, Morocco will empower women in general and ensure gender equality and participation, promote the inclusion and development of young people by increasing the opportunities and channels of participation, mobilize cultural diversity as a lever for openness, dialogue, and cohesion. Therefore, with the view to consolidating the social band, the Commission recommends strengthening the inclusion of all citizens, in particular women and young people, through empowerment and wider participation, while ensuring the implementation of social protection. Through this development model, women in general are considered as full citizens regardless their social, economic, geographical, or other condition as handicap. This aims to make inclusive development a paradigm in terms of human rights by being determined to open up projects and programs to women with disabilities, while inclusive development is inspired by the concept of society for all, which gives everyone the possibility of exploiting their potential and consequently of contributing to the general good-being by participating in the life of his community. Finally, I want to clarify that this new unique model is the first of its kind in the Arab world to empower women in general and disabled women in particular. Thank you for your attention, and thank you, Nawal.
Thank you, Dr. Mina, for shedding the light on this new model that hopefully will be replicated in the Arab world and many other countries around the world. We'll fly from Morocco to Qatar with our ambassador from Qatar, Adriana. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Nawal. And we in Female Wave of Change Qatar are very excited to join this conversation. I am Adriana Meyer, business psychologist, coach, and entrepreneur. And in 2019, I followed my passion for humans, joining the Female Wave of Change as the ambassador here in Qatar and the humanity team leader. Along with me, Zaina Barakat and Usha Nagrani, our newly joined wave makers. In our recent meeting, we brainstormed the new opportunities and how we will focus our work on the voices of women here in Qatar. As we are all ICF accredited coaches, we will start by forming circles of women, following the Female Wave of Change, Circles of Change. And this will be the first step to connect locally, identifying their needs and start acting. As our MENA ambassadors shared before, the COVID-19 pandemic has been a game changer for societies and economies alike. It brought the potential to ignite more persistent change, not only in our personal lives, but also in business-related areas and in the public space. Another salient feature that made this crisis so extraordinary is the disproportionate effect it is having on us women. And some analysts started calling the COVID-19 crisis a crisis of women or a she-cession. Interesting, right? So globally speaking, it might represent some specific implications from the pandemic for female leaders and entrepreneurs. And a good example of that can be seen in a KPMG survey. They have developed a questionnaire here in Qatar based on economic and business expectations, risks and opportunities, as well as on career and gender diversity factors. This framework enabled to draw comparisons between the pre and post-COVID world. And the survey interestingly revealed three main themes and the data that I want to share with you. So number one, female leaders are embracing changes related to COVID-19 and are realistic about what the new reality holds for their organizations. 80% of them have seen the digital transformation of their businesses accelerating during the pandemic. 81% expect the crisis to affect their businesses for 2 years or more. 48% say their potential talent pool has increased, whilst 53% select securing long-term customer relationships as the most important measure to deal with the effect of the crisis. And female leaders say making a positive impact on the world is a top motivator. This really interests us, women leaders, because climate change and gender inequality were the two top issue female leaders named as areas where they feel the pressure from their stakeholders to act. So the numbers say 42% say sustainability issues and activities to reduce climate change will be even more important for strategic decisions post-COVID-19. And the last one, female leaders assess COVID-19 as a potential equalizer for gender equality. What they say by that new digital communication and collaboration tools enable working from anywhere, which may help with work and life balance of us female leaders. And just a percentage, 59% of female managers believe their personal communication with employees have improved these crises. So, such vivid examples demonstrate remarkable resilience in the face of challenges, provide us with inspiration and hope that a more equal world is possible and can be achieved through the same resilience and determination to turn the adversity into opportunity by giving women the voices. Thank you, Nawal. Thank you all.
Thank you, Adriana. We will end up our session of challenges to opportunities from the Middle East and North Africa with our ambassador, Lina Al-Assad from the United Arab Emirates, who will tell us a few things about burnout and how can we avoid it. Lina, please go ahead.
Thank you, Nawal. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, wherever you are. My name is Lina Al-Assad, and I am the ambassador of the Female Wave of Change for the United Arab Emirates. I'm also a team coach, an executive coach, a speaker, a facilitator, a mom, a daughter, a wife. And saying all of that, I am sure if we introduce ourselves, we will find that we're juggling too many balls as women in this community. And we want all to be the best in every way. We want to be the best moms, the best daughters, the best wives, the best, of course, in our profession. And what this poses on us as challenge is the risk of burning out, because we can only handle so many balls in one hand, because we're only made to withstand, our body is made to withstand a limited amount of stress. And what I'm going to discuss here is something that Noor at the beginning touched on from Jordan with the studies about what's happening with the female in the workforce, the little support, the survey. And this is very particular for Jordan, but it also spreads across the MENA, Middle East region, with a lot of women juggling work, juggling their homes, juggling, their personal lives, their health, and it's not easy. And this causes the risk of burning out. So what is this risk of burning out? We all know what stress is, right? We have a lot of work, we are over engaged, we're going crazy, our emotions are super active, we have a lot of hyperactivities, rushing. If I have to describe it in one word, we're going crazy. But for burnout, it's the opposite. We actually feel we're flat out, we are demotivated, we're really disengaged, we're hopeless, we don't see that we can handle anymore. We see that we failed in everything. We are demotivated, we lose hope. And in one word, if I have to give an image to it, it's like we're flat dead. And why is it so important to recognize these signs? Because these signs, in the 2019, the WHO has recognized world burnout as an occupational health phenomenon, which means it's causing a lot of cost on the human and on the company. And in their survey, they believe about 1 trillion is costing in loss of productivity in the global workforce. $1 trillion is being, wasted in the productivity cost from burnout. The American Psychiatry or Psychology Association also recognizes burnout with a very high cost to employee and very high cost to organization, where it says more than 500 billion USD and 550 million work days are being lost yearly in the US. And the healthcare costs are 50% greater in the high pressure organization. And what we want to recognize here is that, yes, this is the cost of burnout on the organization, but the cost of burnout on us as people and us as women is the highest thing we're looking at, and we want to recognize and be aware of as quickly as possible so we know how to manage it as early as possible before it takes a toll on us, before it becomes an official depression, and even in some cases, extreme cases, might lead to suicide. And what is really recommended is that we are, first of all, aware of what is stress and what is burnout. Second, we need to identify the cause of the burnout. Is it mostly in the workplace? Then we go discuss options with our manager. How can we take home some work? How can we create nowadays more flexible work-home balance? How can we communicate in a way where the boss knows we are working and is focusing more on the deliverables rather than on how many hours we are online behind the screen or in the office? If this is at home, then also we need to manage the relationship, what is happening, how we can discuss with our spouse or with our children, splitting the responsibility. So what's important is to be aware and to talk about it and to address it and to create solutions. There is always solution. We believe that as women, you know, if we don't handle all of these, then something will happen. Something will stop existing. The end of the world will happen. In reality, when someone dies, yes, it's very sad, but then people move on. We don't want to reach this stage. We can always create something whereby our existence or certain tasks will keep on happening even without us being 100% hands-on. We can delegate even at home. We can, you know, co-create what we want. We can take time out for ourselves. Taking time out for ourselves, many of us women, we feel guilty when we take time for ourselves. We feel guilty if we go, for example, to the gym or take a day off without the kids or without the husband. But actually recreating ourselves is very important for the sake of us and everyone else. When we're depleted, we cannot give anything out to anyone. Breathing, yoga, meditation, whatever works for you, it doesn't matter. Some people, jogging and swimming works best. So as long as you recognize the importance of self-care, you consciously decide on what you want and how you want to design, and you realize that you do not need to be the superhero in everything, the super mom, super employee, super boss. You know, you're not alone. Create a circle of support, circle of friends, tap into this resource, this platform, the Female Wave of Change, be it in the UAE, we welcome you all, be it in everywhere else. And I will end up this talk by giving the example of the frog, whereby they say there was a frog that was, we caught a frog, we put it in a very hot boiling water. The frog realized the heat and jumped out immediately. Another frog was put in normal temperature water, and the heat was raised slowly and gradually. And the frog started adjusting and stretching itself and adjusting more to the heat until the heat was too high and the frog wanted to jump. However, the frog has lost the ability to be able to jump out of the water. It lost its strength, it lost, you know, its focus, and the frog died. What caused the frog to die? Is it the hot water? Is it its inability to realize that what was the situation, that the heat was going gradually? So let's think about this example and let's not burn out as a frog. Let's jump out quickly with a lot of awareness and with a lot of support. Seek help when you need help. Seeking support is a virtue, is not a vice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lina. Thank you for such an impressive tips. Thank you all for being with us during this session, and back to you, Tabelo.
Thank you, Nawal. Thank you very much. I think there was a lot of very important information that was shared, and I want to echo Bonnie's comment, to say thank you to the team for sharing these issues and the opportunities from so many different angles. And I think as Female Wave of Change grows, we recognize that the challenges are similar, they come from different angles, and hopefully we will, as we grow as an organization, we'll get to a point where we are together from the different angles and different parts of the world, come up with solutions that we can be able to adapt. So thank you so much, Nawal, to yourself as leading this team, and to everybody that shared the information about their region, their region and their countries. Thank you so much. So we are running now slightly behind time. And as per the program, we were scheduled to be having a break at 12. So that's not going to happen. If you need to step up and go and grab something to eat, do so and come back. We are just really going to run through with the program because we still have a lot to get through in the afternoon. So right now we're going to go to the beautiful island of Cyprus and welcome back Viola Edwards, who is going to moderate a conversation on the topic of emotional health and social impact with the group of speakers that she has. We are sitting at 11:50, and to be fair to them, as we've been fair to everybody, we will give them the 30 minutes that they should have. So we are looking at 11:20, and at 11:20, we will immediately then go into the session, the entertainment session with Helen. I want to hand over to Viola and let's continue with the next session. Thank you so much.
I need camera, please. Yes. It's hello, everybody. I'm gonna start while they give me camera. Yes, here I am. Yes, well, very emotional. Thank you so much, Nawal. I was 13 years old when my family emigrated from Lebanon to Venezuela. My working life in the corporate world began in 1972 at the age of 13. So you can imagine how activated I am now after hearing all my colleagues and friends here talking about my area of the world. I started my first company in 1993 after already 21 years of work in the corporate world. So now I have over 48 years since I start working. And I have owned and worked in different countries, in different languages. And in all this time, I understood two fundamental aspects. People are the center of any organization. People carry their emotions wherever they go. And this is the title of a chapter that we just submitted with my dear friend, Sasha Stephanie, Director of CEDEP's Center of Studies and Research of Development of Eco-Psychology and Social Psychology. And he is also an author, and very happy to have men with us in these groups. And I know how much you've been supported, Sasha, supporting our movement of women empowerment around the world. And the joyous and the happiest I am every time I have the opportunity to be again with my soul sister, Hellenic Argiru, Helen, but as I know her, Hellenic is gonna be a little bit difficult to change that. Helen is the founder of Women of Truth, clinical psychologist, a researcher, author, and she is the Female Wave of Change Ambassador for Cyprus. So between the three of us, we decided to have a conversation together about, and especially after we heard Lina El Asad about talking about burnout and why it is so important to have and to understand what is emotional well-being. Since the 90s, I've been working about mental health, fitness in the workplace, and nowadays we englobe all that in the subject of emotional well-being. So Sasha and Hellenic, welcome to be with me here today in this conversation between psychotherapists. All of us, we had hours and hours of psychotherapy ourselves to become the psychotherapists that we are. And let's talk about why it is so important to have emotional well-being. Hellenic, welcome.
Thank you so much, Viola. Hi, Sasha. Hi, everyone, and all you wonderful wave makers around the world. It's very special to be with you all. Thanks for this opportunity.
Sasha.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Viola. Hello, how are you there? Here from London. I want to first profoundly thank the Female Wave of Challenge and of course, my colleague, Viola Edward, for having me. And congratulations for this incredible global conference you are holding. And the quality and value of everything is being said and spread today. So congratulations for that first. Well, what interesting topic we'll be speaking about today. Emotions and emotional well-being. It's actually, I think we all can agree, it's the most important concept we can think about, and probably is going to shape many of our actions over health in the decades to come. And yet, the majority of the population, but I'm talking here even health professionals, are, if we can say that, illiterate on emotions in such a way. There's a famous quote from John Jones. It's quite old. Some things are now are changed, but he said, everybody thinks they know what an emotion is until they try to define it. At that precise moment, nobody can state that they understand them. So that's our challenge. And in our work with us psychotherapists, we know the importance of this concept, that it's here to, I will say, to change everything we know about mental health and well-being.
Thank you, Sasha. Thank you, Sasha. And we are working with Sasha, and we've been working with Hellenic for many years to take this understanding about emotional health and emotional well-being to every area of life, to businesses, to art, to politics. So Hellenic, tell me, let's take 1 minute or two for you, and then we'll enter into conversation.
Yes, it's always been a very important topic in my own personal work as a psychotherapist with many of my clients, but also working on social change, social justice, education, and health in general in the world. We see that we really have come out of a time in past generations where parents, previous generations, were very much in survival mode. Post-war, industrial age, we've had many different thinking systems that really kept us in a very physical level of survival. And I think this is part of why we haven't been able to easily inherit an emotional education from our parents. Many people are not absorbed emotionally in their families. Many of us don't understand the depth of what's possible emotionally, and we struggle so much to receive emotions, to process them, and to actually honor and respect this incredible intelligence we have as emotional beings. But I think there's a new dawn. I think there's something incredible happening in the world. COVID's been very much part of it. It's important that we step into growth mindset and begin to look at our challenges as evolutionary steps of great change. And we see that we have incredible opportunity now to develop ourselves emotionally as human beings. And we've already started doing that. It's actually a prerequisite, a priority, but also a pioneering move into the future for us to begin to venerate, honor, and elevate our incredible intelligence as emotional beings. And when we start to do this, we create some amazing alchemy, and we can begin to re-educate children, rebuild our systems, and reshape the future as we're all here busy doing, with a respect for this very powerful level of sensitivity and finesse that we have as emotional beings. So I'm very excited to be in this conversation today. And I think it's an amazing opportunity to be sharing with all of you here, you know, the real reality of being hit hard. We've taken a descent. We've all been humbled, brought to our knees in the last while. And now we have to stand up and really think, how do we build a deep respect for how people feel, what people need, how we are able to grow and evolve as human beings through our hearts and create deep wisdom in the soul, because information, progress, really not enough. We have to start moving our understanding into our heart and into our soul so that we can create a holy triad of mind, body, and soul connectedness as emotional beings. Thank you, Viola.
Thank you, Hellenic. So we are here a very multicultural team. I was born in Iraq. My mom is Lebanese. I'm Venezuelan, married to an Englishman living in Cyprus. Hellenic was born in Zimbabwe, Cypriot parent, grew up in South Africa, and now she's back to Cyprus. Sasha is from Argentina. He lived several years in Spain, and now he's in London. So that's very important to mention, because as Hellenic quite point out about it, we had amazing parent that I remember my mom, who was a widow, become a widow when I was 3 years old, and she was pregnant with my sister Layla. And it's true, she gave us the best in education and the best in nutrition. And you always greet me about the way how I dress. I get that from my mom. She used to do our clothes. She's the woman who took a curtain one day to make me this skirt so I can go to be well, have something new for a party. And it's true that we lost it all so many times, and we start again so many times. And it's true that we used to dress and eat as very wealthy people, but we went through situation of poverty, material poverty. And I, as a specialist in recovery from addiction, I can see very clearly how some people make it through when they have had this home of emotional bonding and support from family. For that, in psychotherapy also, we say the support of family is very important to be able to pass those tunnels of darkness that many of us, we pass through. The one that we have migration and situation as I lived, or the other people who maybe apparently from the outside had a stability, but from the inside didn't have it. So why it is so important to support psychotherapeutical process and to encourage our family members and friends that please, nobody should leave their pain alone. Nowadays, there is no more stigmas about going to therapy. So sooner you go, is better for everybody, for you and for your beloved one. And remember, it's not only needed that you say, okay, I'm going to go to psychotherapy. You still will use a time to find which psychotherapy you want to go, which psychotherapist is going to be the best for you. So don't take longer time to decide. In that sense, Sasha, according to the dynamic emotional theory that you have created and you're finishing a book about it, the emotional sphere bases and determine the cognitive and behavioral spheres of human behavior, where emotion is the necessary vehicle for interaction, communication, and the development of human bonds. If we add to this that one of the most precious and clear find in this dynamic is the understanding and the importance of the internal resources that me, Hellenic, we work so much about it, that what the individual bring with themselves, every person have inner resources that some of them are nurtured, some of them are nurtured. So the most valuable capital that we have, we cannot afford then to sidestep or avoid the treatment of emotion in any process of an organization, management, leadership, in company, in politics, in any area of life. So just take 1 minute, Sasha, to complement this idea according to your dynamic emotional theory.
Thank you, Viola. Well, the idea is we are so much in conflict, and emotions seem to be a really useful tool to change, and as I said earlier, to reshape our different environments, from work to family to social life. And that's why we pay so much attention on it, because we believe in the power of emotions to change, but not just treating emotion as a part of an approach, but an approach itself. So we mentioned that we are in critical and in a way in a beautiful time, a period of time, and we are pleased as psychologists or people dealing with health, because the emotions, they have accumulated so much knowledge from philosophy, medical and health sciences, social sciences, educational sciences, among others. And then on the other hand, the term comes in harsh times where there is still a confrontation between a biological vision and an environmental position, which we find represented in the famous pair you just mentioned, Viola, about nature versus nurture, or innate or learned, or the most colloquial in Spanish, I will say this one, se hace o se nace. I mean, we need to learn things, or we have them already. So here the emotions contribute, sustain, strength the paradigm that overcomes by synthesis and also by elevation the biomechanical versus humanist separation, the body versus mind conception, or psyche versus soma, to take them to lands where metadisciplinary terms such as social neurocognition, psychosomatic interaction, psychoimmunoneuroendocrinology, that's a long one, epigenetics, just to name a few, are already common now that we are researching so much in this field. And the study of emotion is proposed as a unifying force that, of course, it has diatribes and internal debates, but it serves as a stage where various disciplines play a leading role within an holistic approach. So with this panorama, emotions represent an amalgam, a point of union, and inflection, both for the science that seeks these internal biological factors and mechanisms involved in behavior, but also on the sciences that measure and project the effects and the psychological and social expressions, forming this complex psychosocial set that we also like to call eco-psychological. But the idea is that emotions work taking our biological set that we cannot ignore and make it work with all the behaviors we need to develop in our environment. And this is going to be unique, particular, of course, everybody, it's a unique person, as the humanistic approach taught us, but we also have this background of knowledge treating emotions, where we can understand a really big amount of behaviors that we help, especially when it comes to our social reactions. So emotions are there to facilitate our communications.
Gracias. Thank you, Sasha. Thank you. Now you know why I love these people. I can spend with them, go for a coffee or virtual coffee, and then you will learn so much because Sasha and Hellenic are researchers from the human behavior to the social behavior, and there is so much to learn from them. But our time today is short, and I'm gonna pass to Hellenic. Hellenic, you're creating now your book, and you are the founder of Women of Truth. And knowing you, I know why you choose that name. And you're creating this book. Tell us about your book and what is the two fundamental thing that is also related from your book that also is related with our session today.
Wow, great question. Wasn't expecting that. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share. For me, a very exciting journey to really look very deeply at female empowerment and all the struggles that we've been having to acknowledge this emotional, nurturing intelligence that we have, that we sometimes simplify down and think women carry more than men. And I think for me, I wanted to understand gender and emotion and this deeper wisdom that we have in this feminine principle. Because of course, some of you might know my mother's name is Aphrodite. I was born in Africa to make sense of Greek mythology and the feminine and the myth of love and creation and sexuality. And of course, gender and emotion and all of these topics we're talking about today were very powerful for me throughout my whole life. I came in a very patriarchal society. I had to make sense of a lot of control dynamics, and suppressing emotion was very much part of my education, not intentionally, but we lived in a world where people manage emotion so much, and even we demonize emotion. So for me, my book really started off as an inquiry into what it really takes for women to step into their personal power, and what that looks like in terms of the personal journey, the transformational journey, but also the social, political, gender, feminist theory type dynamics. And how can we finally put an end to this debate about power, about equality, about all these things, and as women rise up and take responsibility for equalizing the field and doing the work we're here to do. So we're bringers of change, both men and women, and we have an incredible path ahead of us to shape the future. And the book really just deals with a lot of global female leaders and their experiences, the women that I've interviewed, but goes further into really beginning to finalize the point that it doesn't really matter anymore. Gender, emotional imbalances, all the things we've been struggling with, they are minor. We have major global challenges to deal with in the world, and we all need to evolve to the highest potential we are as human beings, whether we're men, women, socially disadvantaged or not. We all have to take our next great step in life and keep going. And we are ready to now finally do that, and we have to come together to make it happen. To simplify things down, I want to just say one more thing about emotion, that I think the simplest discovery for me as a psychotherapist to arrive at this point in my life, after the research, after illness, after many different challenges on my own personal path, is to understand that life is difficult. We have to respect emotional well-being and develop it, because we have to learn to navigate difficult emotions in life. No matter what we think, and no matter how our societies are structured, that will always remain. And in fact, there's a very powerful way to simplify it down to 8 emotions. Every single human being needs to learn to master 8 emotions. Once we can do that, the fear subsides. And I think that's a nice, simple note to end it on, because that's something I hold in my mind. At the end of the day, no matter what we're busy with, we will experience many things, and we are all trying, supporting, and developing each other so that we can deal with these difficult moments and still find the faith to rise to a new dawn. Thank you very much, Bella.
Thank you. Thank you, Hellenic. And in 2 minutes, we're finishing here. So I'm following Tebello's guidance. So thank you so much. And didn't mention then that thanks to Hellenic, I am in Female Wave of Change. She was the one who introduced me to Ingun and to all these beautiful networks, so eternally thankful. So here we've been talking with two researcher authors, and they are doing great work in the world. And I want to remember my teachers from where I learned so much. And one of them is Lou Cox. And Lou Cox said, we are all human beings at birth, but not all we are human persona. To become a human persona, we need a lot of time and a lot of care to become who we will become. And then also he said another thing, and he said, look, we're coming from these homes that already people, we have a huge conflict. All of us, we love to belong to a tribe. That's a primary need. And we have another primary need, to be free and explore what is it that we can become. And these two needs that are so important enter into conflict. And remember, you were raised by people who have the same conflict, and they were raised by people who have the same conflicts, and so forth. So what I want to tell you with that is that all of us, things happened to us in an age that we could not understand the abstract thought. And when my father died and I was 3 years old, I didn't understand what is death. I understand that I never again saw my father. That means that I needed processes, system, guidance to be able to go in what I perceive as an abandonment. So with that, I want to tell you that going into psychotherapy and understanding the world of emotion, as we said in the Great Academy, there is no bad emotion. There just, as a human being, allow yourself to go into the emotion, but please learn not to get stuck in one emotion. Thank you so much for this space, and I hope we always can have space in our gathering about emotional well-being. Viola Edward here with you, and count on me, and Sasha and Hellenic, thank you so much for your company, and thank you all for this space. Bye-bye for now.
Wow, Viola, Sasha, and Hellenic, thank you so much, for sharing a lot of the knowledge that you've gained through your research. I think a couple of key things that came out for me in terms of what you said, Sasha, is it's important to understand emotions and the impact that they have on us, and also understanding, the connection between the physical and the emotional. I loved this phrase that you used. I may be, talking about it incorrectly, forgive me, the eco-psychological, because I was like, okay, I need to go and research more on this, but that was quite interesting to come through. And also, Hellenic, in terms of what you're saying, that as human beings, what we need to remember is that both men and women, we are evolving to a higher level. And by evolving to a higher level, that is what is going to be able to help us to heal this world. So that is really, I think a powerful message. And I think we've also heard it previously from the MENA session that if we look at what COVID has done, COVID has kind of, in a way, equalized a number of challenges that both men and women are facing, and making us recognize that we are facing challenges as human beings. And I believe that as a Female Wave of Change organization, this is the kind of change that we are saying we need to influence, a change that says we need to move to a point of recognizing that we are human beings, and there is a purpose that, whether we are, masculine or feminine, there's a purpose that we need to be able to achieve here in this world. Hellenic, I hope you are still here with me and with us, because I want to jump straight into you with your entertainment drumming session that you'll be giving to us. I know that last year we had a wonderful, powerful drumming session that you did at the 2020 Global Conference. I'm sure this year is going to be as powerful, if not more. Hellenic, are you still here?
Yes, she's bringing her drum.
Oh, she's bringing the drum. Okay, so while she's still bringing the drum, as I said, with the break that we were hoping to have, we're not going to be able to go into it, but wherever you are, you're welcome, to stand up, breathe, stretch, pop into the bathroom, go and
Yes,
check.
she's coming. Yes, she's coming.
Lovely. Go and check on the kids and check on the pets, because If there's one thing I've learned during our, global conferences is, I don't know what happens to your pets. They seem to sense our energy and they all want to be, in our event. So check on them, check on the family, pop into the bathroom if you need to. So for the next 15 minutes until until 12:30.
Need space.
Right. So until 12:30, we will be serenaded by Hellenic and a beautiful, beautiful drumming session. Wherever you go, I know that it's going to bring you back. Oh, okay, there's a partner this year. Woohoo! Hello.
Playing the mbira.
Oh, lovely. Yes. Oh, that's a beautiful tool. Over to you.
Thank you, Tebelo, and everybody. This is a special offering to all of us to calm the soul. Over to Ram.
Sound. Is something happening with the sound?
I'm not sure. We're also missing the sound on our side.
Hellenic, you're muted.
I'm unmuted, but perhaps the sound is not traveling in. Can you hear the drum at all now?
No. Yes, yes.
It could be just the connection, yeah? Did you hear the previous instrument or not at all?
A little bit, yes.
Okay. Try it from there.
Sorry, Hellenic. It seems there's a part when you move to it, we lose the sound.
Hellenic, we're not hearing you, sweetheart. We're not hearing you. We're not hearing the, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to bring out the big drum. Maybe you'll hear the big drum.
We'll wait for you. We can do some breathing exercise meanwhile.
Maybe also not sit too close.
I'm going to play the harmonica. How about now?
Yes. No.
No.
Yes. Not really. Hellenic, we can't hear you. We can't hear it. You will need to come and sing for us because we can't hear you.
Agreed. Yeah, the transmission of the sound is not very static today, so there is a bit of a challenge.
Sorry, everybody. I'm going to do one more thing. If it works, great. If not, we'll just move on.
Okay.
Put the speaker on. Yeah, maybe it'll work. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me.